So, how you like the sound in your ear? Is it okay for you?
I mean, I don't like the voice I'm hearing, but yeah.
Well,
It's
I
good.
mean, none of us like the voice we hear. But
Yeah, exactly.
other than that, I mean, as long as you feel comfortable with it.
I'm always uncomfortable, but yeah.
So, I start each podcast with a simple question.
Got it.
Shiva, where were you born?
Dallas? I don't even know. I think pretty sure Dallas Hospital.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a citizen. You fucking racist.
Already.
I know what that question was about. Yeah, you thought you wanted to check my papers?
Uh-uh.
Where were you born? That's what I want to ask.
Sure. I was born in Yerevan, Armenia.
I knew it. I knew you weren't from here, dude.
Yeah, I was born there, but I immigrated to this country when I was 5. So
You mean you fleed?
I actually legally came over, interestingly
That's
enough.
probably the best way to do it.
Yeah.
That is probably
I was 5, so I didn't have much say in how I got here, but
Sure.
so happy I did.
Sure. Some kind of like sex traffic ring exchange program kind of stuff? Or?
Something like that. They
Okay.
put me in, but I excelled too much, so they put
You
me
were
into
too
the
good?
adult class really
You were too
quick.
good at sex trafficking?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I was pushed as a kid too. Like I went to college when I was 16.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you were born in Dallas,
Yep.
but where does the lineage come from? So culturally,
India.
family.
India, North India. My parents are kind of from New Delhi, not the old Delhi. Or my dad's actually from the old Delhi, but now.
So
yeah.
explain that to somebody like me that has no idea what that actually means. New versus old Delhi, and
I don't even fully know what that means.
okay, fair enough.
No, there was a place called Delhi, and then something happened, nothing bad, and then they made a New Delhi, kind of like in New Mexico, except not at all. But there's a New Delhi, and then technically an Old Delhi, which I'm really showing how white trash I am, or whatever, Americanized. Like I believe Old Delhi is a little bit part of New Delhi, but then it's like they moved it. I'm really making myself look bad here. I'm known in my community as an ABCD. It's an American-born confused Daisy. That's what the. Have you ever heard of that?
I have not, but I
Okay.
think it might be very specific to like
India.
things
India.
within Indian culture. Like I'm sure there's like
Yeah.
things within Armenian culture that doesn't translate at all. But
Sure,
like,
sure,
we probably
sure,
have
sure.
the same type of like
Like the genocide. A lot of people don't get that here.
No. A lot of people have no idea.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They are like, what happened to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
people?
yeah,
Who
yeah.
tried to do what? Because like
No.
in this country, I went through high school here. I'm sure you went through school
Yeah.
here because you were
Yeah,
born here.
Yeah.
They don't really mention
No.
what happened during World War One. It's always
Yeah.
like they gloss over World War One, like specifically all of World War One. You really don't learn much about it in school. Have you realized this?
It's because they didn't have the front man they did like they did in World War II. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? They didn't have that poster child of like there was. It's
Exactly.
just the Archduke Ferdinand, right? That's the idiot that got shot that caused the whole war, right?
That's what. So you can go down a rabbit hole of conspiracy theories like anything else, and
Sure.
you'll end up being like, well, no, he was just a fall guy, and like
Yeah, I believe
it's
that,
like
too.
the shot heard around the world. No,
Yeah.
it's a complete some people say it's complete bullshit, but there is truth to it. But what I still find very interesting is like any other war you can think of that we learn about. There's always a centralized villain,
Yeah.
and then America's on the right side of the war. You
Yeah.
know, they do the right thing.
Well, whoever's telling the story is always the good guy.
right. Whoever
Right?
wins
Like
tells
I'm not.
history.
I'm not going to be like America should be like. No, we're evil while we're. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna always heighten yourself or put yourself as the good guy. But I think America's problem, not that I should have any say about that, is like they don't. If they were just a little self-aware of some of their stuff, like I'm fine with all the Iraq war, Vietnam war, all of that. If you're just like, hey, we're going there for oil, or like, oh, we're going there because we need to keep communism out of Asia or whatever. But instead, it's always this righteous thing where it's like we're better than everybody kind of shit. And it's just like, no, we're just trying to maintain power like all those countries would do when they're in charge. Like there's not a single country that hasn't been in charge that then was like
completely screwed it up.
completely screwed up for themselves, but like didn't take advantage of being in first place. You know?
See, I think America's probably one of the few places that hasn't screwed it up for itself. Well, hadn't. I want to put an asterisk on that because right now we're in this really weird.
No, we could be
stage
losing
of
the
United-
power right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
like
whatever.
I didn't grow up in a time that I ever worried that America would not be the superpower,
Yeah.
and I don't fully fear that now. But now it's
Yeah.
like there's a tickle in the back of my mind going like, shit.
Should have been Chinese.
You're like, shit. What if
Yeah.
it happens? Yeah. What
Yeah,
if
yeah.
it happens?
Yeah.
And then
My parents moved across the world, and they should have just went to China, which was right next door.
which is my parents moved across the world too, and they
Yeah.
could have made a shorter trip to
Yeah.
China because
Yeah,
like
yeah,
we're technically Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
Armenia geographically falls under Southeast Asia,
Okay.
so yeah, it would have been a hop skip to go to China.
I mean, Russia's technically Asia too, though, which is
Parts
weird.
of it is because
The
how much they
majority of it
control,
is.
like the Siberian region and all
Yeah,
that stuff is
yeah, yeah.
technically Asia. Yeah,
Yeah, but they're not called Asians; they're called Europeans for some reason.
are they Europeans? I thought they were like something completely separate from everybody else.
Like Serbian or something.
No,
But if you had to say European, Asian, African, I'm not.
see, for us, we've always separated Russia.
I always call Russians Northern Australians. That's what I call them. They're just freaking weird and like drinking.
They're very different.
Yeah, they are very different.
Like if you compare old school Russian to old school American, like put a 70-year-old next to a 70-year-old, very different perspectives on life, very different outlooks, and like,
Yeah.
they both could have worked in a coal mine, let's say, but they still
Yeah.
completely different. Like, not to sound mean or anything, but they seem like harder people because they've gone through a lot harsher shit.
Whoa, Tom! Don't be
Sorry,
mean. Oh, Jesus Christ, man!
I'm not
Really
and
throwing the slurs out there like mean. Oh God!
it is what it is, man. I'm riled up. Right
I didn't
now.
realize you're on Howard Stern now. Holy shit!
I try. I do my best.
Yeah.
But not in actuality. Like if you come from that part of the world where like the Middle East, Russia, Asia, it's a lot
A lot
harder.
of conflict.
It's
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
harder because you've
I'm-
got enemies everywhere.
May I ask? Did you?
Yes, sir.
Did you leave Armenian like during like chaos in a sense, or like?
Well, yeah, because we left in '92.
Okay, yeah.
When the
Okay, okay.
Soviet Union went completely to shit, and
Nice,
Armenia, for the first time in a very, very long time, had to become its own republic, and
Yeah.
from zero, kind of like
And your
build
parents were
everything
like,
up.
"We're out. We're not even dealing with this. We're going to America."
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah,
That's probably the better move, man.
yeah. My mom was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, let's give this America thing a try," and
Yeah.
it was okay for her.
And now look at you. You're a podcaster.
Just because you own an iPhone doesn't make you a creator, all right?
Sure
Let's
does.
put it this
Hey,
way.
if you go on stage and you make someone laugh at your comic, it's like you don't have to get paid for it, really.
But here's a big difference.
Hmm.
You actually had to make that conscious decision of actually getting up on a stage where
Sure.
you do not have the anonymity of the internet.
Yeah.
Like you can be a superstar on Twitter and nobody will know who the hell you are
Yeah,
because
that's
you're
true.
not posting like content of you. You're posting written text mainly, right?
Yeah.
Or Substack or something like that. You can
Pretty
still
much
be
a
a
You're
good
pretty much
creator.
a writer of like a really famous TV show, and nobody, you can walk through and
Yeah.
nobody knows.
So like think of it like oh my god, I'm blanking on his name, but Dave Chappelle's partner, like longtime
Neil
partner,
Brennan.
Neil
Yeah,
Brennan.
yeah.
Thank you. He just
Yeah.
put out his second special on Netflix.
Yeah.
But-
I liked it.
But most people had no idea who Neil Brennan was
True,
until he stepped out of the shadow and into the spotlight with his own comedy works.
Yeah.
And then, Chappelle talked about him everywhere. No, if
But
you-
still, people didn't put a face to the name.
no
kind of stuff. Yeah,
because
yeah.
this is pre internet revolution when they started working together. I mean, Half Baked. Think of how old Half Baked as a film is.
Yeah, yeah.
like so. It's interesting in that dynamic of like you can exist but not really exist until you actually put yourself out there. But now, kind of with the way the world is, podcasting, Facebook, TikTok, everybody wants to be center stage. But I still don't think it's the same as actually getting on a stage where people are directly in front of you. Because comments
Yeah.
usually come later.
Yeah.
But if you suck as a comedian, and you know this,
Yeah.
the first time you got up there, you didn't kill like George Carlin would, right?
No.
It's-
I was more like Richard Pryor killing.
There you go.
No, I'm kidding.
There you go. Yeah,
no.
Live at Sunset.
I pretended to act like I was having a seizure when they gave me the light the first time. Like I don't know. Like I went up there. I was kind of on drugs. I don't know. During the time period, I was off and on drugs. And comedy kind of gave me an outlet. And I actually recorded like the first 50 sets I did. And, because I thought that'd be worth something if I ever made it.
Okay.
And I tried to look at it the other day, and I was like on Molly, and I still could not watch this shit. Like I was in a loving place, and I'm watching my first stand-up and being like disgusted with myself.
Is it possibly your internal drive that wants you to get better and better and be so much better than you were that keeps saying like, you sucked. This
Yeah.
should be a constant reminder of how much you sucked. And also how much you've progressed because you have the ability of saying you sucked. You're not saying I suck. There's a big difference between those two statements.
Yeah, no, 100%. And yeah, I'm very what would be the word? Like I'm hard on myself a lot, so it's like I'll cut myself slack in the moment. Like if I bomb on stage, I'll be like, that was, I don't feel good about myself, but I'm like, all right, that was what it was. But then later on, I'll be a lot more ruthless if I watch that and being like, all right, because I mean that's almost a whole different person. That was about almost 8 years ago when I started. April. It's actually coming up. April 1st, 2015 is when I started.
So 8th birthday or 9th birthday?
8th, coming on. 8th.
Happy 8th birthday.
Yeah.
So, what made you actually get up?
I was coming off of a lot of drugs. I was kind of lost in life.
I want to touch on that.
Yeah, sure. Because I know we talked about this before.
Yeah,
actually, we should tell how we met.
Yeah.
We should tell how we met. Yeah,
So
because we were at Hyenas, and you were yelling at a black server. I think because he was black, right? I'm pretty sure Marcus Garvey. You were trying to put him in his place. I think, right? I don't remember fully, but I think that's what it was.
Your
recollection,
your recollection and interpretation of what was going on is a tad bit different. But sure, we can go with that story.
Okay. No, Marcus was yelling at you a little, or not yelling at you, but he was pissed off. And
I think what happened was I was trying to order something, and he was not the server for that table.
Yeah.
But I was kind of
he was pissed off about some other stuff that had happened previously. Like he was dealing with another table, and then I think he was kind of cut. And then when you were talking, he should have just been like, "Oh no, I'm off the clock," and laughed. But instead, he was like, "Oh, what the he's being Marcus and shit." And then
which is fine. I mean, and that's exactly how we met. Not kind of. You literally were like, "Hey, he's he's going through something right now." And I was like, "Oh,
don't
cool.
worry about it." And then the manager yelled at me.
Yeah, because you and I were just sitting there having a conversation.
I was just trying to be like,
But Marcus. Nothing to not for nothing to the manager, but comedians are either funny or they're not, and if they don't catch your attention within probably the first 30 seconds of being on that stage, it's really hard to get you back.
Yeah. There's
at least for me.
There's art. No, I get what you're saying. There's exceptions. It depends if it's a story comic, people will give them more. But if it's a jokey comic, it's like get to the fucking jokes quickly.
Yeah.
Prove to me that you can at least tell a joke, and then I can get comfortable.
Right. Like if you're gonna be the Kevin Hart's of the world, where you're gonna take me through a journey, or like Brett Kreischer takes you through a journey.
Sure.
I'm in. But
there's something else keeping your interest.
Yeah,
if you're just saying quick one-liners, it's like, dude, they better be
right. It's not. You're not doing every 10 seconds. I need to be hit with a punchline. It may be this beautiful story that puts it together, where I get a better picture in my head.
Yeah,
and I'm laughing a lot harder. Like when Tom Segura talks about walking through a park in Philadelphia and hearing some random white guy yell to a black guy the N-word.
Yeah. And then they're looking at him like he's a part of it now.
And then you get this, first you get the laugh of like, okay, in broad daylight, this shouldn't happen. Then he puts in with his beautiful, like that funny voice, he's like, we're going to die.
Yeah.
And then the guy popping out of the bush as another black guy out of nowhere, and he's like, I don't know if you live there or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of people have seen this clip. It's all over YouTube. And it's like, it's really hilarious, but you're okay with the setup of, I was walking to the park in Philadelphia and the whole bit. And
there's something to hold on to then, with the story at least.
Well, because he painted a picture, because he talks about the weather. He talks about it being a beautiful day. You can almost imagine yourself being in a park.
No. Me? Fuck no.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if the right drugs were there.
That's fair enough. Yeah. No, you got me there.
So, I mean, it's just like the reason, and the manager had a right to be pissed off with us, but on the other side of things, sorry, dude,
100%,
your comic
100%.
Sucked.
Love. I don't remember
That's
night,
the whole
but I'm sure.
point.
Yeah.
Is you don't remember who was on the stage.
I've seen so many stand-ups, though, like that.
And I know how I saw that night that I thought was really funny. Arun, the guy that was the host, he was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And a couple of other people that were funny, but there were a couple of people that were just like,
what are their names?
I don't remember their names. And that's the thing, is like, part of the way this works is why we met was because this is how I find people to come on my podcast. I actually go out to the comedy clubs,
yell at black servers until someone apologizes to you.
And then you get them on I go in as a full Karen.
Nice.
Demanding a manager at the door.
Sure.
Demanding to be seated next to the talent. Which
nice.
Yeah. I was seated right next to the comedian.
Yeah,
that night.
The best one, really. I wasn't even on that night, I think.
And you're like hilarious.
Wait,
no, you were not. You had done a set at another club, and you just hopped in because one of your buddies was going to be on stage.
Yeah.
And you were just like hanging out.
Yeah.
And
pretty much
how we got to the conversation once we got past the fact that I was being really mean to a minority.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I'm glad you can at least admit it now.
I'm trying to be a stronger person.
That's good. That's good.
This is my apology letter.
Good.
Also admitting that I have a problem.
Yeah. I agree.
It's the first step.
Yeah, it is.
But beyond that, you were like, "Hey, dude, are you a comedian?" And I was like, "Oh no, this is who I am." And then we got into this like conversation, and I still remember it. And I was like, "I have to have this guy on because you're like, hey, you want to have an ex-heroin addict on your podcast?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm in."
Yeah.
Because
comic too. But
I don't not necessarily. I want a heroin addict. I want an ex-heroin addict.
Yeah.
Because it means you went through some shit. You went through some ups and downs, and
it's weird looking back at now. But sometimes because now it's like I'm a little bit far enough away with it where I feel weird telling people I'm a ex-heroin addict. Like where like the first 2-3 years of comedy, there was a lot of overlap where it was like, I was there was a couple times I was strung out, where it was just like I'm going through opiate withdrawals and shit, or I'm going to a methadone clinic every single day to go to a doctor. When I first traveled the road, I would go to comedy clubs and I would have to like they highly regulate methadone, which is a little understandable, but it's a little over the top compared to some of the other drugs that they don't regulate. Okay. Like, my girlfriend has a prescription to Adderall, and it's just like, that's pretty hardcore stuff if you're not doing it. Compared to me, where it's like I have to go to a clinic and someone has to watch me drink this thing every single day. I did that for like almost a year and a half, going to the same clinic. And then when I was on the road, I would travel and do comedy clubs and check out the local methadone clinic because they won't give me the take-homes to travel. So I would have to go to another city, tell my methadone clinic to tell that methadone clinic, hey, give me methadone these couple days, and then,
So what years, okay, so when did you become, I don't care about like smoking pot and drinking with your buddies. Everybody did that. But most people progress into adulthood and are like, I can still smoke pot and drink with my friends.
I still do that.
Molly occasionally. I don't know, mushrooms occasionally.
Yeah.
There's
acid a little. Yeah.
Sure. Like, because here's the thing with like psychedelics and hallucinogenic drugs. You don't want to do them all the time.
No.
It's not easy to, I mean, it takes a lot of effort to get addicted to something like, I don't know, LSD
I'm sure
or
you can
mushrooms.
do it. I'm sure you can do it. But yeah.
Whereas some other drugs, coke, heroin, cigarettes, like these things are instantaneously going like, hey, you want more of me forever, don't you?
Yeah.
And forever is a very short amount of time depending on how
balls
deep you go into this.
No, I hope so. I hope life's short. I'm not a big live to 100 guy.
Oh, really? I'm kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum.
You want to live forever?
Yeah. I don't want to die on this planet is a goal.
Okay. Well, that doesn't mean forever. That could just be... You could do that next year if you take one of those Amazon fucking spaceships.
Nah, not yet. But okay. I want to be in a part of life where we can like be part of an interplanetary species. That'd be a really, really interesting.
You just want to see that, or you want to be a part of it?
I want to be a part of it. Okay, so get my kids old enough.
You want to be the podcaster on the spaceship? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think someone way more famous than I will.
Joe Rogan, I get it. Yeah.
I don't think Rogan wants that though.
No,
recently he even says, I'm not going up first.
Yeah, he seems like an Earth dweller. I think he's actually going to go underground. Everyone's going to go into space, and he's going to tunnel underground and become like.
But he'll probably be the first guy to have someone from an interplanetary species on his podcast. He'd probably be like, you were number 72 on Mars. Yeah. Let's talk.
That would be cool to be the top 100 people born on Mars. That would be
born there or to actually live there and like colonize Mars.
Yeah,
I don't know. It seems way more interesting than just going 6 feet under.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, it's going to happen, right? Inevitably, we will all die.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it might not happen. We might not be able to
get... You think singularity is going to happen sooner than we think, and we just
with
morph
humans?
into an AI mechanism and no longer need to die?
Sure. I mean, ChatGPT's making some pretty solid jokes, so my job's kind of fucked.
No, not at all.
No? Okay, that's good.
No, I don't think ever, because...
There's a personal connection with stand-up that I think...
I think entertainment is always going to be exempt from AI because we love to see the struggle of a person becoming good at something. Whereas the ChatGPT system...
What about with porn?
What about it?
Do we like to see the struggle?
Well, I mean, you got to fuck your way to the top, right?
Yeah, that's the one. It's the one job that it is.
It's very much so that kind of culture of like how many dicks did you really suck this month?
Yeah.
Is the quota. Have you met it? And you will be on your way up.
Yeah.
But even that, like the porn industry, I don't know, how old are you?
35.
Okay, so
About to be 36.
we're right around the same age bracket.
Yeah.
Do you remember porn on the internet?
I grew up with porn.
Yeah, all of us did, but in a
yeah.
very different way. Like we were probably the last of the people that were like magazine, videotape.
Yeah, there was a little
DVD,
overlap, but
and then the internet kind of like really took over.
No, it was mainly pictures on the internet.
Yeah, it wasn't like I can stream anything I want.
No.
And like just fully categorized down to the hair color of the person that I'm interested in. And all this other crap.
Yeah, I'm putting height and like eye color, and they're finding it for me.
Which is not good. Like,
Yeah.
We were not supposed to evolve into this like porn
Perfect
all the time.
Yeah. We're not supposed to
everywhere.
get exactly what we're going for. It's supposed to be like this girl is perfect, but she's got like auburn hair instead of blonde or something, and it's like, oh, but I love that even more now because of that. Like,
right? Like
instead, we're like becoming like. We're being like English kings at this point, where we're just like kicking that. Like it's got to be exactly what they want, and all those guys are messed up. Obviously, people can tell now. Where it's like, just.
I mean, look, there's a healthy way of consuming porn. Everybody does.
I don't know that way, but I'll try. I'll give it a shot.
I think the less of it that you engage with, the better it is. It's just like it's like an opioid. Like
100%. Yeah, I'm a little thankful that I'm a little addicted to pot, but
well, I mean, you're gonna have you have an addictive personality. So we kind of touched on this. Is like how do we go from pot and drinking to straight into?
I think it's because of like the whole Just Say No stuff, the DARE program, where they lied about pot so heavily that then I couldn't trust anything they said about any of the drugs.
Which I was the same way when I would like. I always, and it's stuck with me even till today. Remember when they would say gateway drugs?
Yeah.
Pot, cigarettes, alcohol. This will lead you into heroin addiction.
I thought it was always pot.
No, it was alcohol too. Because remember, you got to remember, they started there when we were like, 11 to 13, something in that range. So they don't want you drinking either.
No. They just did more about pot being a gateway drug. And then for the drinking, they did, what was the one where the kids would show up dead? You know what I'm talking about? And then they would have a car crash in the middle of the football field, and they would talk about the DWIs and stuff. So they pushed that. Yeah, they would push that more so with us than saying alcohol is a gateway drug. Because, I mean, it's Texas where it's like, or America, alcohol is kind of that's changed now.
Very different, though. I grew up in California, so for
us.
So
you're gay. I get it. Yeah.
For us, it was almost the reverse effect, because you have to remember, California's always had
Wait, so they did that with pot? They had people.
They've always had a better relationship with pot than they have with alcohol.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were saying they did that DWI thing. But
no. The DWI thing was always a drunk driving thing, and they would bring out like a car that was just mangled beyond recognition, and you still could see some blood stains in it, and you're like, oh, cool. So Timmy, John, and Ashley died in that car, or whoever,
And they couldn't talk the whole day. You know what I'm saying? Like they would be in class, but they'd be like in goth.
Somber and all this. Yeah. But like nobody gave a shit.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, I don't think those things ever scared any kid.
I got a DWI when I was 21, so I didn't do shit.
Thankfully, I never got a DWI, and I was okay with. I'm not a drinker.
Yeah.
Even though the whiskey's sitting there, I seldom drink. Like a couple of drinks a year, maybe.
That's
kind of like that.
Wait, can I ask? Are you Muslim?
No.
Or anything like that?
Christian.
Okay. Just
Christian.
Okay. I'm sorry about that.
I'm not actively Christian, but I'm not also inactively Christian. I have faith.
You're American Christian. That's American Christian.
My definition has always been this. I've always said I have faith in a higher power. I just don't have faith in the word of man.
Yeah, I get that. I'm sure that comes right out of the. But I mean, you're supposed to trust God's law, not man's law, right?
Which means,
even though man's law tends to be what's God's law.
The only law that I have, or the only rules that your Christianity or the Muslim faith or the Jewish faith, any faith is the word passed down by other people.
Yeah.
So okay, let's, for sake of argument, there is a God. Yeah. How do I know if the information that was fed to me as a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew is the proper information?
Yeah, it's telephone.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Because I know me and I know human nature is like, if I had the type of power to dictate what God is saying, I'm going to add some shit that's for me.
Sure. Yeah,
I'm putting in some stuff that, like, if you were the first dude
Or
whose
even-
wife screwed the neighbor,
Yeah.
you're probably putting in there as a commandment of, like,
I mean, that's a good one. Though. That is a good
I
one.
get it, but,
that's
like,
a good one.
shouldn't we have figured that one out by ourselves at some point?
because people are still doing that. People still do that.
At a much higher rate, I
Yeah,
think, too.
yeah. No, even more. Yeah, everyone's a bunch of
So
fucking heathens,
weird.
dude.
Yeah, it's so weird that we're.
I mean, I am too, but I like to think I'm a heathen with a heart of gold. You know, I'm like the
There
pretty
you go.
woman of heathens kind
yeah,
of deal. Yeah,
I can
just
see
doing
that.
this to pay for college. You know,
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Because you're becoming a nurse, right?
the next Mother Teresa. Actually, I'm going to college to become one of those guys. MLK, Mother Teresa.
Didn't they attack Mother Teresa recently?
Yeah. I think she's like
Something happened, right?
Really,
Her and Gandhi
I think she's
both
really
were, like,
bad.
really messed up.
I think she's something about like she's mean to like poor people, even though she helps poor people or something.
How does that work?
I think
I'm
she
getting
just
more
thinks.
confused now.
I think she wants to help them, but she like looks down on them or something, or maybe it's I don't know. I'm not surprised. Or I think she also steals from like the charities, kind of like what's it called, like Salvation Army, where it's like they make more money than they give out. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like 90% of the profit goes to like people in the company, and only 10% goes to. This is all allegedly. I don't, you know.
So there is some truth to what you're saying. I
No.
don't know if the Salvation Army falls into that list.
What am I thinking of? Red Cross?
I
It's
don't
one
know.
of the big ones.
So Wounded Warrior Project came under fire
That one
a
I
few
do
years
know.
back
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of some things like that. But like there's other organizations that are the complete reverse of that, like Make-A-Wish.
Okay.
They like 90 cents of every dollar they collect goes straight into making wishes come true.
Nice.
So they're like on the flip side of things, where they're genuinely a good charity. But
Depends.
there was a version of
It depends
them.
on the person's wish.
I mean, it's,
You know what I'm saying?
It's still their wish, though, right? Like,
Sure.
they're dying. So
Yeah. So they just get it's just they get anything they want.
and it's not usually like these. I don't know. They're not out of They're not weird in any way. It's like, hey, I want to meet The Rock, or I love John
I'm sure
Cena.
they have
or,
some,
like,
but they're just like, we're not going to do that.
I don't.
They're
think
definitely denying some wishes.
probably, but
Yeah.
they have to. If you think about it, they have
Yeah.
to, because a lot of people don't understand like the long-term image of a company that's trying to do good. They have to maintain that image.
If you let cancer patients fuck celebrities, I'm going to kind of be about that. I might try to get cancer, to be honest, at that point. Try to get a free
so
wish.
who are you trying to have sex with that you're willing to get like prostate cancer for or something? I don't know.
Nah, it would probably be like skin cancer. Just something I could
Just
chunk
treatable,
off.
yeah.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
oh, I had
yeah.
a skin tag,
yeah.
technically cancer.
Yeah,
got
yeah,
rid of
yeah,
it on
yeah,
Tuesday.
Exactly, exactly.
Did a set in the evening at the Hyena Club.
I don't know what celebrity I would fuck like that. You know what I mean? Like, who would I be like, God damn, I need
Who are you
to have
risking death for? Is my question. Like, 'cause
Nobody.
this is like
Nobody really.
Okay.
If you ask me in my 20s, sure. At this point in my life, dude, I'm not trying to be selfish. Like, I'll still help people, but it's like, I got to spend the rest of my life doing this stand-up bullshit and then, like, looking out for me a little bit.
So is that what you see the projection? Stand up is your path? Is that what you really want to follow?
Stu, I mean, before stand-up, man, I was a junkie, so it's like this
We
is
really
giving
need to
me...
touch upon this junkie thing. We keep
Yeah,
like
yeah.
swaying right off of it. So
Well,
hold on. Let's hold that
I
thought.
talk about this on every podcast, so it's like I'm totally cool talking about it, but it's like, yeah, I
Well,
can give you the cliff notes. Or
It's your
whatever.
story, so you know
No,
you
no,
tell it
it's-
as you feel.
I
see
know because
fit.
it's more of like, what are you interested in hearing about the story? Like, I'm fine with just, I was a junkie for almost 10 years off and on. I was pretty close to death, didn't die. And I'm not trying to be dramatic about it. Almost went to prison, didn't go to prison, went to drug court. Kind of helped, didn't help. Relapsed when I got out, and then got into comedy. Comedy kind of helped me. I will say this with the drugs. I think the reason why I got so bad into drugs was I did not know how to connect with people. I kind of had not a terrible home life, but a little bit of a troubled home life, and I just didn't know how to.
cool.
connect
So define that. A little bit of a troubled home life is what I'm more interested in.
Okay,
hearing now.
okay. My parents were in an arranged marriage. I can't say if they ever loved each other. I don't know, but it's kind of that Eastern kind of philosophy towards like marriage isn't supposed to be about love. It's supposed to be about being together, making kids, and educating those kids, and making sure those kids are doctors or some shit.
So more of a contractual obligation to each other versus fall in love and whatever the whole story bullshit.
So
here.
my parents fought a lot, which I I don't blame them for that. They just weren't. Whoever arranged their marriage was an idiot.
And that's a big deal in India, right? There's like specific marriage people that exist, right?
Matchmakers.
Yeah,
they have that on Netflix. They have that.
Yeah,
and I hate it. I hate that shit. Honestly,
how close have you watched it? Like, how close is it to the truth?
I watched the first season. No, that's pretty accurate. So it's not like they don't see each other. They like meet up. Like, it's a lot more civil than people make it out to be. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's uncivilized. Nobody really knows the rules about this shit. Like, well,
there's no rules.
One culture's trying a different version of it.
Yeah.
We try a different version of it. Yeah. And it's like, short of marrying a 15-year-old kid or something.
It's like Americans using Tinder, except Tinder is your parents.
Right.
That's honestly what it is, where it's like they keep showing you pictures and you swipe left or right, and then you'll talk to... sure. Yeah. Oh, even now, I'm sure it's literally Tinder at that point, where it's like the parents are like just doing Tinder for them.
Got it.
That would be the best way of doing it. It was like if your parents are in control of your Tinder account.
But like statistically, more people in Indian marriages stay married versus American marriages?
I hear it's about equal, 50-50.
So, okay.
Both. I hear maybe a range is like a little, I don't know the stats, but yeah. I don't know, and that just goes to show it's like you can fall in love with somebody and you guys can grow in different situations that you guys fall out of love, or you could be not in love with somebody at all and then grow to love them. I think it just shows that love is fickle and you shouldn't chase after it, dude. Just do stand-up comedy. No, but love's a great thing, and but I think the whole like monogamy forever is a little it's a good goal to strive for, but like to expect that out of every marriage, I think is asking a lot.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Which is what they were doing.
Because I don't think we were evolutionary programmed to be monogamous. We were evolutionary, at least men were evolutionary programmed to like just spread as much as you can.
I try to explain that sometimes to like my girl, and it's just like I think women just don't want to hear that, and I don't know what to tell them. I'm like, this is just kind of maybe how it is, because there's always a guy that's like, no, I would never, and I get that. Like I kind of believe that. But then it's
I know people that have never cheated. Like my grandfather
I'm not saying cheat.
Never cheated on my grandmother.
True. But also we don't even fully know that. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't take much to just stick your dick in something real quick and then bail out,
This is true. I agreed. But I mean, like sometimes you meet people and you're like, okay,
this guy cheats.
Yeah.
Yes. I get that. This guy's a player. Yeah.
And then,
but then there's got to be like a Dexter of players. You know what I'm saying? Like the serial killer show.
The guy that's playing the 4D chess while everybody else is playing regular chess.
Like and he's just McDonald's franchises everywhere with families. You hear that story all the time too, where it's like you'll hear a guy be like, oh, they got divorced because he had like 3 other families in 3 different other cities, and you're like,
I've always wondered about people like that. I'm like, why? If you're able to do that, why didn't you put your time into something else, man? Like you would have been a killer at something.
True, but then what's the goal? Is the goal to be like? Because to be honest, that's a strategy too. Just have a shit ton of kids, and then your lineage lasts that way. It's more of a long con than like trying to become Bill Gates or Amazon in your lifetime. Like, if anything, that guy's trying to spread his seed in the sense like one of those kids might make it, and that'll be his favorite kid.
Sure, but you could do what Elon did and just have a bunch of kids with a bunch of different people.
And also be successsul. That's probably the better strategy if you can do both. But
I'm repopulating the Earth.
Yeah.
And
I'm Mars. I bet you he's having all those kids because he's going to be like, before they're 18, before they can choose their own way, he's going to be like, you're going to Mars.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
His threat of boarding school is like it's a 6-month space trip.
Yeah, like
he's
gonna wake you up at 2:00 in the morning, and instead of like the military coming to take you to military school, it's gonna be the space cadets being like, "Come on, bitch,"
or the aliens. Yeah. His buddies being like, "All right, you're gonna go hang out with them."
See, this is the interesting part of being alive today. Is like you've got so many routes that are open, possibilities. ChatGPT, exploring different planets. Systematically destroying ourselves with nuclear bombs.
Love it.
This is all like realistic shit that could happen.
Yeah.
And we have no control over it whatsoever.
Never had control anyways, in general.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
But we had the facade. For a very long time,
I think that's what led me down addiction was I thought I had control over everything. And then it's like, oh, geez, like I can barely control my thoughts that come in my head. I definitely have some what's the medical term? Intrusive thoughts at times where it's like you can't get certain things out, your head. Could be like negative emotions, murder, violence, sex, whatever.
So you've got your skeletons that follow you all the time.
Yeah. I mean, they're not even. They're like wishbones now, man. They're not even full skeletons. Like,
which is the hardest stuff to get rid of. It seems like they petrify and stay forever.
They do. Yeah. Therapy helps. Or just talking to somebody. I think the problem with therapy though is like people look into it too. Therapy helped me out a lot. I like to say that. Like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, helped me. But like some people just do it. Like a little goes a long way. I think, and people just kind of do. I forget where I'm going with this. People will just do therapy forever, and it's like that kind of feeling you get in therapy. Technically, I think humans were supposed to do that amongst each other, like socially. Like we were supposed to talk to each other like we did in therapy, but now it's like become so rigid and like people are so distant from each other that now we have to like outsource that. And don't get me wrong, therapy is good in the sense that somebody that's not a part of your life at all. Like they have no investment in your life except taking your money. So it's not totally, selfless.
Right.
But it's like,
which it shouldn't be selfless.
I think there's got to be therapists, at least one therapist that knows this person's doing really well. And I'm not saying like there's a point where you don't need therapy anymore or you do need therapy, but it's like there's therapists that are like, oh, I need to keep these people as clients. Like they need money too. Like there is still
they're the
financial.
They're the ones that make the least amount of money.
Therapists?
Yeah. No. The ones that have that mentality, because the ones that get people better. Well, think of it this way. If I'm on a management program with you, because let's say I've been your therapist for 3, 4, 5 years, whatever the time frame is, and we've gotten to the point where you don't need to see me twice a week or 3 times a week.
Exactly.
You don't even need to see me once a week anymore. I'm on medication management. Once a month,
Sure.
Come on in. Let's see where you are.
Yeah.
And what I mean by medication management is like your mental medication. You're talking and getting that out.
Yeah.
And I think the really good therapists out there have such a huge referral system happening where they're like, dude, I was on the brink of destruction, and Dr. So-and-so.
It's kind of like stand-up comics. Word of mouth goes, everyone's going to be like that therapist is a hack.
Exactly.
Kind of deal. Because
you're like, dude, I've been 8 years,
but that
nothing's
hacky
changing.
therapist could still ruin you for those 3 to 5 years until you figure out he's a hack.
Well, it's
or a quack. They're quacks, not hacks. But yeah.
And I think a part of that should be you need to also be proactive in your therapy of, am I making any progress, or am I just continuing to have a conversation?
But if I could do that, I wouldn't need a therapist, right?
No, I don't think so.
Like I would, I'm like, it's like I'm already kind of damaged where it's like I'm already in a vulnerable spot. Because like when I went to rehab the first time, I actually, I'm not religious. I think I kind of became a little spiritual, though that word is a garbage word. And
what was the religion in the household? Were your parents religious at all? Or?
Mom was Hindu, pretty average, or maybe a little more hardcore. My dad was pretty light Hindu. He'd be like you being Christian right now. He's active, but he's not active.
Hindu light.
Yeah, Hindu light. Yeah.
So
like
what?
Bud Light.
What is Hindu? Because I'm not as familiar as I'd like to be with your religion. Which probably like I'm not as familiar with Christianity.
Just a bunch of gods and stuff. It's pretty much Greek people.
Was
but
Shiva one of your gods?
Yeah.
This is why your name's Shiva?
Was
that the multi-armed person?
Yeah. Well, there's a couple. There's a few.
Was Shiva the elephant person?
No. That is Krishna. Shit, dude. I'm blanking a little bit.
Again, I apologize to any Hindu listener out there. I do not mean to defile your religion.
If Arun Rama is listening right now, like please.
Yeah, I don't know enough about your religion. I don't want to be that guy. It's just I'm curious to learn.
What do you know? Let's. I want to hear the amount of ignorance
from Hinduism. So what I know about Hinduism is Eastern religion.
Nailed it.
Very prevalent in Indian culture mainly, and some random white people that seem to adopt it.
Hare Krishnas. Yeah.
Those guys that just walk around parks and stuff randomly.
Airports. I don't even know if they still do that, but yeah.
Yeah, I never understood those guys.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Multiple gods. Every god has a reason for existing.
Yeah, it's like Greek and Roman gods.
One controlled this, and one controlled that, and one controlled the other gods. And that's what I don't know. does Hinduism have like a Zeus character?
Yeah, it's they have a trinity usually, and it changes in the region that you're at, but usually it's Vishnu, Krishna, and Shiva. But then I think Krishna sometimes with Brahma. So it kind of changes in the region. Sometimes Shiva's not in there, I believe, but like it's I'm not the guy to talk about this. Like I know enough that like, and I respect it a little bit, but it's like I'm not religious. Like I gave up religion a long time ago. I like the community aspects of religion, but the dogma with a lot of it. And Hinduism almost has none. It's just like don't eat beef kind of shit. That's
because cows are sacred, right? In Hinduism.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a theory on that. I think the reason why cows are so sacred in Hinduism is because of how, well, first of all, Hinduism is a crazy religion, right? Like an elephant head on a god and the multi-arms and stuff, right?
You mean it's more crazy than the guy that walked on water and turned water into wine and then was crucified and then came back?
Your guy was just obsessed with water and fucking coming back. He's just David Blaine. That's David Blaine.
I feel like your religion, Hinduism, and Christianity, both kind of had a bunch of people a really long time ago have profound psychedelic experiences, and your version is less suppressed versus my version, which is way more suppressed.
Sure.
I feel like that may be like, this is why you have elephant gods and you have multi-handed people.
This is exactly what I was going to get at. I think it's because we worship God so much because cows can till your land, feed your family, and the third one is get you high and make you believe in gods with elephant head.
Cow dung, right?
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So I think that's why cows are so revered a little bit. I never heard. I mean, obviously the tilling land and the feeding your family stuff is very true, but then it's like there must have been some kind of psychedelic component with being you're around cows for 1,000 years and they got these magic mushrooms coming out of their shit. Like,
yeah, I know
that's gonna get in you somehow, and then you're gonna start tripping balls and thinking people have blue skin and shit and whatever.
And then also you
multiple arms.
And also you don't know like what kind of profound evolutionary light was turned off from these experiences, why a cow may be so revered, because like maybe that one dude had that experience, and after that experience was like, we need to start growing vegetables, and then we become agricultural in nature. So whatever the
and then being vegetarian and stuff. I'm sure that came from like feeling, cows more when they're tripping
some
balls.
Sort of a connection with the world that, again, probably lost in translation over thousands of years.
Sure.
And even the whole theory of how old we are as like civilized humans is all the time kind of like being rediscovered. It's not really with the Egyptians. It goes way further back than that. It's not really these guys. It goes further back than that. And
it's like the LiDAR stuff in the Amazon.
And all of this stuff coming out, and you're like, oh, shit, we had civilization 15, 20,000 years ago. Yeah. Some speculation goes even back to 60,000 years. And you're like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, we probably just fucked around, fucked up, I think people would be a lot better if they just went through life not assuming they know things as facts. That's the crux of a lot of the problems is the cocksureness of being like, oh, we are this old, or that this is the God, or like even to be not to be too political, this is the vaccine. Like people just think they know everything, and it's like you didn't do any work. I'm talking about the people parroting that stuff. That are on their side. Right. I know they're doctors that did their work. I'm not trusting those doctors. I'm just people, it just becomes like recycled talking points kind of deal. And people do that with religion. People do that with, politics. People do that with gossip that they heard, from their friends kind of deal. And they just try to act like it's true.
I feel like human civilization screwed up on a couple of fronts, and we don't want to make that like pivot to fix things. The number one thing that I still feel like is, and COVID proved this beyond anything else, is we are not unified as the human goddamn race.
No. Even though we try to act like we're going to be.
We're not at all. Not even the slightest bit, because all of us went through the same thing for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
None of us came together.
No.
None of us.
No.
We were more divided than ever.
They only came together to then attack the other group.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was never came together because we're all on the same page and we want to do this. It was like, no, we got to come together so then we can yell at that other group that's not doing what our group's doing.
So that's the first thing I feel like we screwed up at, like human beings from the get-go. We're like, no, we're different because of this. And you can define differences in humans with like anything you want.
Sure.
You have blue eyes, I have black eyes, I hate you. Done.
Sure.
There's no reason behind it, just it exists.
Yeah.
The other thing is the advent of currency. We screwed up royally by having money exist.
Why?
Because think about it. If you lived in a society where money was not a driving force, like people, when you talk about a person, if they are successful and if they're this, a lot of their success is predicated on how much wealth they have generated.
True. Yeah.
We put so much of our...
Oh, money does a lot, though. Money can move mountains. And
sure, but the
send
mountain
you
would have
to
moved
Mars.
anyways if you didn't have money. It still would have moved. If you are in a collective, let's say you have the human race.
Yeah.
And the human race's collective goal is living beyond the next extinction event, which is a comet from space just crashing into the Earth. It's happened before. It can happen again.
Yeah.
If we were unified on that, we would have been a type 1 or a type 2 civilization by now, and we would have been a multi-planet. It's inevitable because I wouldn't have to worry about paying bills and all this stuff because there's a group that exists that does this essential service.
Yep.
In return, they are getting that essential service, and it's like pod systems where
I
each
get that.
pod feeds the
But
other.
in return, they get money. But you're just saying to make that without the money. The money, I think money is like blood. Like the blood, if we are like one organism in a sense, or if you try to put that metaphor there, it's like money's like our circulation. And that, I think the problem is then people hoarding money. Because then after a while, it's like, those are turned into blood clots in a certain sense. Where it's like that money needs to be recycled, constantly recycled throughout the...
Well, because money also gave rise to religion being so as powerful as it is, because religions were the original banks.
Yeah. No, yeah. That's a good... I never even thought about that, but yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And then religion... So you got money gives rise to religion, religion gives rise to political systems, because they wanted to control the discourse for millennia. They still do. You know, most religious organizations would love to be in control of what is okay and what isn't.
Scientology.
Not just them.
I know.
I promise you, if you give any religious group
the one
power,
that's like, oh, they did what religions did just like in 50 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they were just like religion on crack. And it's,
because Scientology, I mean, it's goofy, dude. Like,
I mean, they're all goofy.
I lived in California.
We were just talking about the base of it. I know that. No, and they're extra goofy. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But just like you're talking about the walking on water, the multi-armed gods, like it's.
But there's a difference there. These are stories that are technically supposed to be thousands of years old, and any of us that has a brain would understand that some of these things may have been over-exaggerated just to keep the story going and being passed down.
Sure.
Because it sounds cooler if there's a god with an elephant head or a god with 14 arms, whatever the situation is, or the guy that can turn water into wine and walk on water and all the other cool things that's the thing, is the cool things aspect that keeps a story going, right?
Sure.
Because if you're like, well, Moses came down and he told us we had to follow these rules, and that's it. Yeah, but if you add like, there's this lightning and then these stones appeared out of nowhere and and you're like,
bush.
Oh, now... The burning bush. It kind of, a lot of theories go back to is like, it was the cicada tree and it was them just tripping balls on DMT, which is possible. Nobody knows. But I think I give them props for actually over exaggerating it. And why I was saying that is like thousands of years you can pass this along. But like, you know, Scientology is like 60 years old.
Yeah.
We weren't that dumb. We had access to information.
Sure.
A vast knowledge of information. You could have been like, L. Ron Hubbard had what happened to him now? And then because you kind of sit there going like, why is this as big as it is? Like, most people don't understand the amount of property owned by Scientology is...
They're McDonald's.
It's worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Because it's like prime real estate in the middle of like Los Angeles or West Hollywood. And you're just like, how the hell do you guys own all this?
Because they don't pay taxes.
I mean, like beyond, I think next to them, like the Mormon Church is bigger with the amount of stuff that they own.
Yeah, because they don't have to pay taxes.
Right. And it's a very smart business decision.
Yeah.
You're like, let's just buy up all this land.
It's become religion's more of a business decision now than a faith.
And I think it always has been.
True. Well, come on. Jesus and I'm not trying to be like, go those religions and fuck that one, but it came from a time You know what I mean? It's kind of like how Facebook became Facebook. Facebook wasn't trying to do that, but now it is the Catholic Church in a sense. Back in the 1800s or whatever.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
And we need like a Lutheran to come up there and.
But I would never say fuck any religion because
I kind of do. I mean, I respect everyone's religion, but yeah, fuck all religions for the most part. I don't like groups of people. My problem, which is hard to live in a world because you got to.
It's hard to be a stand-up comedian if you don't like groups of people because it's kind of like the base of your audience.
But if you ever watch my act, I'm kind of mad at the audience. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not one of those comics that brings the audience together. I'm one of those comics that's like pushing boundaries, and I'm not like trying to just do. I mean, sometimes I am, but yeah, like I'm more divisive and
which means you give shit to the audience or things like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
if you drove all this way to come see a stand-up show, I'm gonna give you a show, and some of that show, you should not like all of my show. You should like ideally 90%.
So kind of like an Ari Shaffir.
Sure. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna say something over the top. Yeah. And
he comes to mind because I saw him at the Hyenas Club a couple of months ago.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for that guy.
Yeah, he's awesome, dude. I love Ari.
Yeah.
He went through a lot of shit, but that's fine.
That's why I even have more respect for him. He at least sticks by his guns. He doesn't seem like a bad person. I don't know him, but yeah.
I don't know him either.
Yeah.
But yeah, he doesn't seem like a bad guy.
Yeah.
And the barometer I always find for that is Joe Rogan. If that guy likes you enough to have you on his cast more than once or twice or talks about you as a friend, you're a good guy. Because inherently...
I think Joe Rogan's a good guy, but then it's like...
I can't think of anyone that's a friend that's a bad guy. Like an actual friend.
I think I could. I'm not going to say it.
All right.
Because I probably have to work with him.
Your universe is different than my universe.
True.
You know what I mean?
No, but it's
I'm an outsider looking in.
You could, unfortunately... Like, he's a smart dude, but he's so busy, you could trick him into liking you. Like, he's not spending that much time with every guest that he's with.
Right, but I mean,
when
you do like the Protect Our Parks that series that they do,
that's
different because it's they
that's
do it all
buddies.
Those are friends because he does that all like the fight night stuff that I used to do with Johnny Bravo and
Brendan Schaub.
There you go, Brendan Schaub. So it's Johnny Bravo, Brendan Schaub, and Joe Rogan, and they did these live fight events.
Nice.
But like those are friends.
Yeah.
You can tell they're friends.
Yeah.
Because like multiple occasions of the same thing happening again and again. Like Brett and Tom are friends of his because they keep coming on. So you have these people. You're like, if you got regulars,
his inner circle, I'm sure, are good people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get kind of what you're saying.
That's so like.
But then right outside, I mean, this is how all societies.
Oh no, I mean, you're right.
How all empires fall. It's like even if you have a good king, bad people still gravitate towards power. And they're going to figure out a way to do that.
I think of it this way. Tony Hinchcliffe.
Okay.
He's like one of the biggest dicks you could think of if you only watch Kill Tony.
But
the only reason he gets to be that big of a dick publicly is because he's genuinely a good guy.
Okay, yeah.
Because if you're an actual piece of shit, you do your best to hide it.
Yeah.
That's what you do is because you're a piece of shit and you're like, how do I wiggle my way in here or wiggle my way there? Because I don't want people to actually know who I am.
Bill Cosby. At that point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I don't care who thinks what. There's no denying Bill Cosby was a piece of shit.
Sure.
Sorry, bro. Like, you may have been a great comedian and America's Dad, but, like, behind that house as America's Dad, you were fucking everybody.
Yeah.
It's not cool.
No, more like America's Stepdad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the bigger problem is, like, you single-handedly screwed over comedians for a really long time.
Yeah, it's funny shit.
Because people were just looking for a reason to shit on comedians anyways, because what your job is to shit on everybody else.
Kind of.
Observations. A lot of comedians, their main task is...
It's definitely negative. Yeah.
And there's a reason for it. It's like you point out the negative, put comedy to it so we can actually, as the civilians of the world, think about these things and affect change.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole point of comedy is what people forget is like, they're supposed to talk about the things that are uncomfortable.
It's supposed to be the jester saying fucked up things in front of the king, and everybody's like, whoa. And then,
exactly. And that's the whole point of the court gesture is to continue to keep the balance and level-headedness of a society.
Yeah. Bring levity to the very difficult thing of trying to run whatever, a country or kingdom.
And the only way that works is that the court gesture themselves has to be pure of heart.
Yeah, pretty much.
You have to be,
or you can't
be Cosby,
chasing,
bro.
Yeah, you can't be chasing status and stuff and like be about Yeah, it's almost like, and I mean, maybe that's why I don't give a shit about religion as much. As comedy, it's more my, I guess, religion. But it's kind of like being a monk a little bit. I mean, some comics aren't doing that, and I'm not fully being a monk. Like I'm smoking way too much pot to be a monk.
Which you never know if the monks are smoking weed or not.
There are actually these people in India that do that. They'll smoke pot all day and then do like yoga for long hours. I forget what they're called.
Interesting.
Yeah. Sadhus, I think. They're called sadhus.
Sadhus.
And they do that as payment for all the sins of humanity or something.
Okay.
So they're just getting high doing yoga, and they're just saying they're doing that because of other people's sins. I smoke pot all day and kind of do yoga. I just lay in bed, so I like to think I do that. I like to think I'm kind of a sadhu a little bit.
Pot is interesting. Pot is one of those. I never understood why it was a Schedule 1. I still don't.
Yeah. It's probably because it's bad for the military or something. You know, it prevents. It's hard to keep control of people. Like Adderall is perfect. I think that's why comedy went down a little too. Like why we got so serious about comedy. I think it's because Adderall prescriptions went up, and it's like when you're on fucking meth or Adderall, like jokes aren't that funny.
No.
Like you're looking more serious about stuff where you're like, I need to.
Because a comedian inherently should be loosening up the room. And
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things is like when I go to watch stand-up comedy, I love watching it live. I'm not as big of a fan of sitting at home and watching live comedy, although
That is the way to do it live. But it's just
the
hard
other
to do.
day, my friend Alex and his wife came over and we watched Louis C.K. live stream
nice.
at
How
Madison
was
Square
that?
Garden. Dude,
I haven't checked it
I
out.
was crying laughing. And I literally
Wow.
wrote him a message on Instagram. He'll never answer it, but I literally wrote, I was like,
Louis?
yeah, I was like,
Okay. Yeah.
I was like, thank you so much for
Yeah.
even after all the bullshit, continuing to be you
Yeah.
and continuing to do the type of humor that I fell in love with 20 years ago.
And then ... Can you be on my podcast?
Didn't ask.
Okay, you should.
Didn't
Should have,
ask.
man. If he does see it, and you might as well.
Might as well, right?
Yeah.
But the reason I wrote that is like I just wanted to throw it into the ethos that
Sure.
these things should exist. These people should exist because he
Yeah.
talked about, and I seen all of his other specials, Sorry and the other one,
I've seen those. They're good. I like
and
them.
it's like had nothing to do with those.
Yeah.
He did it like a true professional comedian does. Close the chapter after the special's out, start an entire new set of material, and he murdered, dude. Like
I gotta
he
check it out.
absolutely murdered. I was crying laughing for an entire hour straight
That's crazy.
and watching it at home. But
And you seem hard to make laugh. I think I made you laugh maybe half a second right now, man.
that's kind of the problem with me is like I'm overly overly exposed. Like I've been in love with comedy since I was maybe 12 or 13.
Don't you hate that? Now it's just like everything's just like meh.
Because I remember watching Robin Williams stand-up special on HBO.
Sure.
Crying, laughing when he did the entire bit of how they came up with golf.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah,
that
great
was
bit.
so hilarious.
Yeah.
And then what was...
We call it a stroke.
Yeah, exactly. Because you feel like you're going to have one every time you hit the ball.
Yeah,
That whole bit. And then when he dropped his water and did the whole pretending to be praying and that... Like, you see how off the cuff works with a person like Robin Williams. And then George Carlin was a huge influence for me, too, because he did comedy in a very different way than anybody else did.
Yeah.
I was never the biggest Pryor fan. I guess I just didn't get into him early on. I got into him later, and I thought he was hilarious.
It was because he wasn't a server you could yell at.
Oh, I loved Eddie Murphy stuff, though.
Okay.
Delirious and Raw, I mean...
Yeah, I like Richard Pryor. I like Eddie Murphy. Yeah, they were all good. Yeah.
But-
I'm not a big Kevin Hart guy. I mean, I respect the dude.
I like Kevin. I like Kevin because of what Kevin did for the art of comedy. He showed that there is a small chance that if you are hyperly focused, you can create superstardom around you.
Sure.
And it's
I guess
rare. It's very, very rare.
No, I guess he was kind of like one of the few rock star comics.
Yeah, because like Seinfeld, he's
Yeah.
great, but he's not Kevin Hart fame level. If you really think about it,
In a
because he
sense,
never
yeah.
broke into film, he never broke
What are
into
you talking about?
what films has Seinfeld done?
The B movie?
Oh yeah, because you see,
Just saying.
I know, but like, come on,
Okay, no, touche. Yeah.
Kevin Hart's done a lot of funny shit,
Yeah.
and he continues to do a lot of funny shit.
I wouldn't say it's fully funny, but yeah. That's just not my sense of humor. Like
No, I get. I understand what you're saying, but if I'm like, if I want to go watch a mindless comedy and Kevin Hart's on the
100%.
on the name,
I don't want to be challenged at all. Yeah.
And The Rock is next to him. I'm
done.
I'm gonna laugh. Like Jumanji's really funny. That CIA movie they did is funny.
I'll give it. I was surprised by because I loved I loved Robin Williams. Jumanji.
Yeah.
So that was a hard.
I rewatched that one recently.
Just a bunch of sexual assault and like
no, it was still
N-words or something we didn't catch. They're just like, oh shit, dude.
No, they were pretty PC back then too.
Yeah.
It's funny, but as an adult, it's not as funny.
Huh.
It was more like centered towards like the teenager and kids to laugh because it was more jokes of their age group.
Yeah.
Versus Jumanji now, they've got the undertones of adult humor where you get the funny.
Okay. Yeah. It's like a Pixar movie.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Where there are jokes that go above the kids' heads, but
which they're supposed to. Yeah. Like you could be
yeah.
sitting in a PG-13 theater as an adult going like, oh yeah, they made a dick joke that nobody got. It's funnier because you get it and the kids don't next to you. Jumanji original didn't do that. Jumanji original was like full on kids movie.
Yeah. It was a good movie.
And it was really good. I think we don't make movies like that anymore.
No. I don't think we have I don't have the attention span. Movies need to be like 30 minutes long, I feel like now.
Really?
Just get to, man.
You think so?
No, but I'm just saying wild shit. That's not even that wild. But yeah. I think movies should be just sound now. I'm going to say more wild shit. No visuals. Just be all audio. I'm just making up stuff.
I mean, that would be cool though.
I
remember Stephen Wright.
Yeah.
So his one-liners, and he was the king of it, were very multi-layered. If you wanted to break it down, there's a couple of jokes in every one-liner that he ever made. It wasn't just like a joke. It was a joke that...
I'm sure that's not the case. I'm sure I've heard I can't even remember some of his. I remember his fire... He parked near the fire hydrant factory, and then he couldn't park anywhere near the fire hydrant factory or something. Like, I'm butchering the shit out of it now.
There was a one-liner about... he came home drunk one day and put his car keys into his the house door, and then he drove his house around. It was funny, and then he gets pulled over. Like it's actually really funny.
Nice.
It's
his style. It's his delivery.
It's
all of it. It's all
the way he spoke, the way he would stand there, just like he almost had no emotion when he was talking, which made it funnier.
Yeah.
That's what actually made it funny to me. Is like he would just sit there with a straight face.
He was the guy that I want to say he's the guy that invented deadpan.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure he was. Or comics before. Possible. I'm sure there must have been a comic that kind of did it, but he kind of solidified it.
Okay.
Like Louis kind of solidified dark humor.
You really think it was Louis that started the dark humor thing?
To the degree that he did it, yeah. Because, I mean, there was like Jimmy Carr, but he's like dark one-liners.
Yeah.
You know, and...
Was George dark for you? George Carlin?
He was more what would be the word? Not left wing, but like underground, like counterculture.
Yeah,
he was more counterculture than dark.
He was kind of, but he started as a very like
clean
comedian, and then he became an alt comedian, and then he became the counterculture guy. Yeah. And then he just became.
But I wouldn't say counterculture is always dark. It definitely had dark tones to it. But yeah,
at times, you're right. It doesn't always have to be dark.
But like Sam Kinison was kind of dark too and stuff. But Louis kind of solidified. Like he's almost like the dark George Carlin.
Okay.
Instead of the counterculture.
Although I mean, I think Bill Burr was pretty dark too.
More angry.
More angry, you think? Not dark?
Yeah, no, he had some. I mean, some of his anti-women jokes, would come off. But that wasn't dark to me.
But I mean, Louis C.K. like. Jesus,
he's like leaning into pedophile stuff. He's leaning into
His Madison Square Garden one of the funniest jokes that he.
Don't ruin it.
Oh, you're gonna go watch it?
I'm gonna try to watch it.
Okay, but he's done it prior, like in Sorry and his other ones. Like there's always like this connotation of
a pedophile joke.
Pedophile. Yeah, I'm not gonna ruin the joke for you.
No. But he's had one in each special. You're right about that. That's like his go-to topics is like that.
Rape, pedophilia, and whenever you listen to podcasts or interviews with him, which he doesn't do that many, but when he does talk, and he's like, that's kind of the point of my comedy is like, you're supposed to feel really uncomfortable and find the funny in there.
Yeah.
He's like, I see the line. He's like, I'm going to go way far beyond it and see how long it takes before you lose me.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best humor. Like that's pure humor. Is.
Yeah. I mean, the funniest joke back when jesters in courts was the jester making fun of the king. Like, you making fun of your your hero is what stand-up's all about, I think. Like,
which is why I have so much respect for a country like the United States, which openly, without question, allows you to make fun of the president.
yeah.
Like the government itself won't do.
Dude, even stand-up is the most American thing there is.
Yeah.
Like that says everything about this. Other countries are trying to incorporate stand-up, and then they're like India. They can't say certain words, and like
Russia.
they can't talk about certain topics.
Russia's the same way. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying even for the stand-ups, like fine if you want to do that, like, but it's like stand-up should be always allowed to make fun of whoever. It's like if words are able to just topple your fucking empire, it's like you had a shitty empire.
Yeah,
like,
your
that's
empire sucks.
Yeah, like you should be able to take as much guff word wise than that. Technically, America's, even though we're kind of wavering right now, is doing pretty well for the amount of bullshit. People. I mean, some of it's very valid, but like the amount of kind of hostility our own people have for our own country. Like we're surviving pretty well for that. Like if I think like. If China tried to, if that happened in China, I mean that is kind of happening in China, but they're locking things down. But if that,
Oh yeah, their censorship is on a different level.
Exactly. No, but it's even more than censorship. It's like lockdowns and like the protests. They're like doing the Face ID shit and whatever. And Russia's kind of, I don't know about the Face ID stuff, but they're doing the same thing. Where it's like they had to like tighten down on that. Ours was not the government tightened down on us. It was just a bunch of losers.
It was us tightening down on this.
Yeah. Which I do accept, but I just didn't like the direction it was going after a certain point. I think some of it was really valid and good, but then it got over the top.
Almost all of it was bullshit, though. If you really
At
think about it.
At the end of it, yeah. At the end of it, yes.
Wear a mask. Don't wear a mask. Fight each other over that. Get a vaccine. Don't get a vaccine. Fight each other over that.
Well, I meant like gay people are people, and black people do get fucked by the cops a little more back in the day. Hopefully not now. Don't know, but just little shit like that. Or big shit, but like, yeah.
No, I mean, it's huge.
The Me Too movement, like, don't get me wrong, they went a little overboard on that.
A little?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm trying to be nice to both sides.
I don't care. Fuck Me Too. You guys went way beyond what you just, because they were like at one point, they started just like picking at the bottom of the barrel. He looked at me funny. It's sexual.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what?
Exactly.
And the reason I say
you're out of your
fuck
mind
you to the Me Too movement
is
they at some point started dismissing what genuinely was harassment and abuse towards women. When you started including a bunch of stuff that really wasn't.
Oh, kind of it watered down.
Yeah, it diluted it to the point where now people are like, really? All of it?
Yeah.
All of it is true? Because here's the simple fact of these many cases that were bullshit.
Yeah.
If you had stopped where it was like the people that were actually raping women and doing the actual Me Too shit, it would have been great for that movement. It would have been sustainable, and I'm all for it. Look, nobody should.
You gotta like
be
maintain,
harassed.
I guess. That's maybe how I rationalize their thinking.
Well, it turned into a money grab.
Yeah, that too.
That's the problem. Is like all these nonprofits at some point turn into a money grab, and
money rules everything.
And they're like, we have to continue to fight for this and fight for that, and they're like, okay, what are you fighting against now?
Sure. No, and that does become a point where it's like these entities that like were created out of this problem then have to almost find a problem to maintain their entity. Because what's the point of having Black Lives Matter if black people are equal? I'm not saying they are or not. I'm just saying. Like,
I'll say it out loud. Black people in this country are just as equal as everybody else.
Sure.
They may be dealt a fucked up hand because of socioeconomic problems, because of different things, but throughout the history of this country, right now, black and white are pretty damn equal.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't fully
because the problem is here's a bigger problem is like we never see the stories of those impoverished white communities having to deal with all the same bullshit.
Happens all the time. Yeah, that happens all the time.
And Hispanic communities and Asian like all of these communities exist.
I mean, it's more of a socioeconomic thing. It's poor versus rich, not race versus race.
And when we actually,
but there's overlap. Like I got fucked with by cops. I didn't get fucked with by cops like black people did, but I definitely got fucked with by cops more than white people. Like I wouldn't go to jail, but they would give me a ticket for sure. I have like 2 littering tickets for bullshit.
And I understand.
Just because they couldn't get me that one, they were trying to get give me a DWI. I wasn't even in the car or anything. And then the other time was someone else got in trouble and I flicked out a cigarette, or the cop told me to flick out the cigarette.
And then he gave you a littering ticket.
Yeah. Or the other cop gave me a littering ticket.
Which,
Yeah. So it's whatever.
I get it, but
yeah.
if you want to look at just equal opportunity, if we were both
Sure.
starting in a shitty
Sure,
neighborhood,
We
we're
both
equally
have
fucked.
Or actually, I would say black people have a better opportunity because black people kind of, especially I think more the last 5-10 years, are starting to come together as a community more. Where it's like, if you're the odd man out in any community, it's going to be an uphill challenge. So if you're the white guy in the ghetto, you're going to have some issues.
Like Theo Von talks about this, and he does a great
bit
about it. Where he's like,
it's like, you think I stole the stuff and moved right next to you?
Exactly.
No, 100% accurate.
And if we
100%.
highlighted that, dude, there is a ton of just people in this country that are dealing with really messed up situations.
Yeah.
That would kind of change the discourse of the conversation, but we don't want to do that.
No.
Because if you continue to marginalize
the
a
Democrats
group of
don't want to do that.
Yeah, because if you keep marginalizing a group of people, then you can keep funding
them
programs to
to vote
help
for
these
you.
marginalized communities.
Yeah.
And in the end, you don't do shit.
Yeah. Actually, there's a great video on YouTube that opened my eyes to a lot of like how politics work. It's called Rules for Dictators.
Okay.
Have you heard of this?
I have not.
You should check this out. It's
Okay.
It's pretty much just how someone in power distributes the money that he gets and how to do that efficiently that you stay in power. Because like if I became in power, to get into power, I need to have people kind of below me that are not like my cronies, but like I can look to
people that are invested in your dream.
Yeah, or invested in helping me maintain power because I'm helping them get some power too. So it's a mutual relationship.
Right. I'm at the top of the pyramid, level down. I want like mutual beneficial.
And then
people.
from that level down, it's like, do you want like 3 major people that you can talk to, or do you want 20 people that you want to talk to on level 1? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where then it's like 3 people, the advantage is you don't have to do that much. You know what I'm saying? You just have to talk to 3 people. But then if like one of them turns on you, now you got only 1/3 of all your powers gone compared to 20 people. So much more talking, but then, or you know what I mean?
Right.
But then if one person turns on you, you'll be fine. You got 19 out of 20. Like you can lose one.
All eggs are not in one basket in that situation.
Exactly. No, but then it's like a lot of people would be like, if I had all that power, I would just give all the money to the people kind of deal.
Okay.
But then what happens there that pisses off those 3 or 20 people in your level 1, where then if one of those 3 or one of those 20 are like, hey, I'm going to take this guy's job, but I'll give you guys all the money or most of the money, and I'll give the people some money. There's going to be a coup or whatever.
Right.
So pretty much that's how dictators works and how democracy works is instead of people, it's blocks of people. Because it's not about the individual there. Because democracy kind of makes it's almost like dictatorship on a macro scale with like millions of people. Like dictatorship's a great way to work if you have like 100 people or like a kingdom, literally. But then after 1 billion people, it's like you can't just give it to one guy and then that guy gives it to 1 million. It's like you end up giving it to a block of people. So you have to chunk people into blocks. So you got like black people, white people, old, white, men, women, and then you give it to your blocks of people, and then you have to maintain that. Because if the Democrats tomorrow just started giving it to poor whites, that would piss off everybody in their camp, right?
Right.
And then they would turn on the Democrats, and then the whole thing would come. Same with the Republicans. Their blocks of people are like rich, Christian, white for the most part. You know what I mean? But like,
right.
But it's like I highly suggest watching the video because I'm not fully doing it justice, but it shows the reality of how actual power kind of works.
And what was the video called again?
Rules for Dictators.
Rules for Dictators.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, it's a very interesting YouTube. I'm sorry if that was like
no.
whatever.
No. It's actually very interesting. I mean,
I don't like women. But no, I'm just say something stupid.
It's like I hate women. I want to be a dictator.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah.
No, I mean what you're saying makes a lot of sense, but I feel like maybe we turned it into just a democracy is a different type of dictatorship.
Yeah, no, it is.
Because if you think about
it's
it, the people that are
it's just a broader thing. Yeah,
impoverished people never really get out of that situation. A few do, but you still need to have that base level of poverty to exist.
Sure,
because it gives the middle class a driving force to keep working.
True,
like
and
slaves.
you need grunts. You need and to be honest, some of these people are a little too stupid to do anything else. You know what I'm saying? Some people just want to work and go home, have a 6-pack, and then that's it.
It's the line from The Matrix, ignorance is bliss.
Sure. Yeah.
And I envy those people sometimes because they will have a job working at some cubicle, making like 60 or 70 grand a year, take that one vacation.
Yeah.
Whatever, and like you said, the 6-pack of beer and the football game every night, and that's
they're
it.
happy.
But they're happy.
Yeah. I'm
Because
not saying they
ignorant to
don't
it.
need it. No, I mean they're ignorant in the sense of, but they're not striving to be unignorant. Let them be.
I agree with you.
Let them be ignorant to a certain degree. I mean, to the sense of like, yeah, hopefully they're not like, you know what I mean, being like racist towards black people. Like I don't, you know what I mean. Like
I'm talking about a different type of ignorance, like innocent ignorance.
Okay.
Like the innocent ignorance.
Perfect.
Like,
Yes. No, then let them in if that's what they want to be.
the type of people that look up at the sky and are like, "Oh, cool," and just move on with their life. Don't actually sometimes get freaked out at the expanse of what's up
my
and
problem
down.
is when a bunch of ignorant people become a group. It's back to the group shit where it's just like people are so weird once they turn into groups of people. Like they're not the same person they are individually.
Right.
And I don't fully get it. I think there was a book, something about the how to pacify the mob or something. But I was talking about group mentality. I need to read that.
So like groupthink.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's just like, I don't know the book at all. I don't know what the book's about at all, but it's about that. But it's like I just never understood how people turned into that. Maybe it's because I'm not good at being in groups. Usually I'll say something inappropriate that people are like, get the fuck out of the group.
So was this the same book that did the comparison on how people became Nazis? Was this part of that book?
Which one? The group?
The groupthink book?
I have not read it, so I have no idea.
So,
but it is pretty much about like how to control the mob or something. I forget what.
So maybe we're thinking about different books, but there was a book that I read. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it was all about how good people end up doing really horrifying things.
Sure. The path to heaven's, or wait, the
People
path
of
to
men
hell is paved by good intentions,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, exactly. So they're like, how is it that an entire country of people systematically wanted to eradicate another group of people that had literally done nothing to them?
I mean, have you seen how annoying these Jews are? No, I'm kidding. All right, fucking A. It's probably not good too. Brown people.
Shiva's a comedian. He gets to say these
Christ.
things. I do not.
Yeah. No, you get to. You're Armenian. You guys aren't fans of.
No, actually, for the most part, we don't hate any group of people.
Yeah.
As long as that group of people is not denying what the hell happened to us, we're good with them.
Sure. But a lot of people do that.
But a lot of Jews don't, because a lot of Jews
not Jews,
agree
not
with
Jews.
us, and they're like, dude, you got fucked really bad too.
Yeah.
We get it. Like,
Wasn't it Gaddafi?
No, it was the Ottoman Empire that did it to us. So it was Turkey.
Okay.
Turkey before it was Turkey. It was the Ottoman Empire, and we were part of the Ottoman Empire.
Yes.
And they decided that we do not deserve to live because we were Christian in a Muslim country, and more than 1 million of our people were killed.
An
Women,
interesting
children.
angle, because you hear a lot about like just a Christian, Christian Middle Eastern person. Like people just assume Middle East is all Muslims at this point.
We are actually,
which I knew that, but like, yeah.
So we are the first people and country to adopt Christianity in the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like part of our claim to fame, is that we adopted Christianity before anybody else did.
Is it Catholic or Protestant?
We're Orthodox Christian.
Which is Catholic, right?
No.
Isn't that Orthodox Catholic?
No, because you can be Orthodox Catholic or you could be Catholic. So Catholic is, so think of it as Christianity is the religion at the top, and then you've got the branches, right? The Lutherans, the Seventh-day Adventists, you've got the Mormons, you've got the Catholics.
But it started with Catholics first.
Started with Christians first, actually. Catholics are more known because they did the whole missionary thing of spreading Christianity throughout the world.
Sure.
So they were well known for that.
So what was before? What was it?
So Christianity is just Christianity. It is the religion. Catholicism is a branch of.
Yeah. Agreed.
So it is not. Christianity isn't a branch of Catholicism. It's the reverse of that.
Yes.
Okay.
I get what you're saying, but then it's like, what was it? It was just called Christian.
It was
so
just
it's
Christianity.
Just like, because like Muslims, it's like the Sunnis and the Shiites. But
they're still Muslims at the end of the day, right?
Yes.
So you have the same thing with us, which is you have the Christians and you have the Catholics.
But the
Mormons.
first one was, I believe,
it was the Orthodox,
Sunni, and then
the Shiites, right?
Or whoever was the main guy, and then the cousin is how it branched off.
So for us, you have the Orthodox Christians, and then you have, I forget the other one. Damn it! But like the non-Orthodox.
You guys
Christian.
are just the OG Christians.
There's very few countries in the world that still are Orthodox Christian.
Interesting.
I think it's just us and the Ethiopians. That's the story of us. Is like we were in part of the World War I struggle was us being almost systematically eradicated from the world.
Yeah.
Made women and children march in the deserts and die of starvation and hunger and things like that, and mass killings. But it was so long ago that you don't have a lot of photography. You have no video of it.
Ooh, that's what the Holocaust had. Yeah, you're right.
You have plausible deniability. You don't have that in the Holocaust.
Yeah. I mean, people are trying to. People are trying to.
I think at this point they're talking about the semantics of how many people actually died or didn't die, like the number. And I'm like, does it really matter? I'm like,
yeah.
Any number of people dying for something as stupid as that is still too many people dying.
Yeah.
Like,
so it's like I agree with a lot of like the anti-patriarchy points and stuff, but then it's like you gotta have a better system. It's just like I was real invested. I mean, I didn't actually invest anything in, but like the whole Bitcoin stuff, like I was really hoping that could be a thing, a decentralized government. And I don't know if it still can or whatever, but
it can, and it was never meant to be.
Okay.
I genuinely don't think it ever had a fighting chance of decentralizing.
Sure. I agree too, a little bit. I don't know how anybody, like, I think it could work if there weren't other people kind of meddling in, but you're always going to have that.
You can't think about like the old guard versus the new guard. New guard is Bitcoin. Old guard is money.
Like,
whatever.
Oh, really? The old guard was the gold standard, and now that's gone, and now it's the paper stuff. And
most people don't understand is that we moved past that old guard a long time ago. We
don't
don't generally base money on anything tangible, anyways. It's all based on worth of a company or the gross domestic product of a country based on what it is producing and all this stuff. It has nothing to do with like gold reserves like it used to be and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So understanding that would mean that there is no old versus new guard. There is just the new guard, and they will adopt whatever Bitcoin is, turn it into useful for them, prop it up, screw with everybody like they did with the NFT bullshit, and then completely collapse the system when they're done.
That wasn't the government. That was... Right? NFTs is like a private company shit.
NFTs was something that people came up with that a lot of people exploited to wash money.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the same thing with Bitcoin too.
Yeah,
like, a lot of black market funds.
Hundreds of billions of dollars got washed through essentially pixels of bullshit.
Nice. The black market helps people. I think the black market's what propped up, or I heard. Obviously I don't know shit about shit. I heard that's what propped up the whole economy during the pandemic when the first lockdowns were coming out. Yeah, a lot of that was just black money kind of propping up things.
It's very possible.
Or African American money. I'm sorry.
No, I think you can call it black market money, or but no, it makes a lot of sense that it would, because think about it. For 2 years, there wasn't a lot of activity other than just like ordering shit online. Yeah, and during this time frame, you had a lot of ups and downs in the cryptocurrency and new ones emerging and making like, you had like stupid shit like Dogecoin was worth nothing, and then all of a sudden it's worth so much money, and then it's back to nothing again. In between there, a lot of people made money.
Sure, a lot of people lost money too.
But the people that made that money didn't always make it from legitimate sources.
No.
They made the money, and it was an easy way for them to clean dirty money that they had.
Well, Bitcoin started because of the Silk Road.
Right. Yeah. It was literally meant to be their currency. Yeah. And it worked great for a long time until.
You know that guy's from here? The Captain Dread Pirates Robert dude?
The dude that started Silk Road?
Yeah, he went to UTD.
Yeah, and then he got arrested and then died mysteriously in prison.
Wait, is he dead?
Didn't he die in prison?
I don't know.
Dude?
I did not know.
Not the Bitcoin guy, the guy that started Silk Road. I remember.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. No, I think he's still in prison. That'd be crazy if he's dead.
Wait, yeah, that guy is in prison. Then there was another guy that started a different version of the Silk Road.
Oh, and he died.
And then he got caught in Thailand or some other country. That's where he was living.
One of those fun countries.
He was having a lot of fun.
I'm sure.
He was just having oodles of sex with like prostitutes and stuff, and
if you're making Silk Roads,
that's actually how they caught him.
Really?
Yeah. So I was watching a podcast actually about it, and like this guy was he was a reporter that covered this entire story of how all this went down.
Yeah.
And he was talking about like this guy had these sexcapades, and then he was blogging about it. So he would live blog after he would go and have sex with these prostitutes and stuff.
Who's watching that?
So the FBI was
besides them.
Oh no! Apparently he had some sort of a following online on this blog website.
Yeah,
where
I'd be like, oh, how is his prostitutes today? Let's find out.
People like subscribed to it and got off on it, and he would live blog
But he's not doing anything sexual on the blog. He's just literally.
He's talking about everything that he.
No,
did
he's just
that
reviewing
day.
his.
Yes, he's like, she was this and this happened and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And what happened is
her penis was smaller than her penis, and then
And so the thing is, the way that this guy had his computer set up is that if he closed it, there was no way anybody was getting the encrypted information that was in there because it was just so encrypted.
Sure.
But what I guess the feds or the Joint Task Force figured out is like, dude, this guy logs in and live blogs this shit, which means his laptop is open during that time frame.
Pretty accessible, I would think.
So so they set up the sting operation to get this guy around that. And what they did was like a couple drives and crashes into their gate, pretending like they were there to look at a house that's for sale next door. And the realtor is an FBI agent. The guys on the light poles are FBI agents. Like
everybody.
It was one of those situations.
It's the Truman Show. Yeah.
And that's how they got the guy. Is like they knew the laptop would be open in that instance, and they were banking on if we crash into this guy's front gate, he's gonna run out of his house without closing the laptop. We'll be able to run in, grab it before, and we have access to all of his data.
Wow.
And that's exactly what happened.
Wow.
And that's how they actually caught the guy. But what happens is he gets booked in, like 48 hours later, it mysteriously dies. And they're like, it was a suicide where he shot himself 14 times in the head or something. Like, it was one of those situations where you're like, clearly something's awry.
Yeah.
So, okay, I mixed it up. But yeah, you're right. The other guy is still in prison.
Yeah.
And I think his mom does podcasts and stuff and talks
I did not know
about
that.
all the shit that went down with him. And I don't know.
She's like starting her own Silk
Dude, they
Road.
gave the guy like 2 millennia or something. Like he's going to be in there forever and then another day.
Well, it's it's to make an example of
right. And I think
he disrupted shit. He disrupted shit in a way that a lot of people.
Well, there's no going back from the Silk Road. It's over.
No,
I mean,
exactly.
It's spread out into multiple websites now.
Yeah.
Which is what I never understood about governments. Like, why are you guys getting rid of the Silk Road? You had one centralized place without competition that you could just continue to feed on.
Tax it.
Not that. I mean, like, you can keep catching pedophiles on a never-ending basis without anybody ever knowing.
Yeah.
Because you go to the guy that started the Silk Road and you're like, look, you have one of two options. Either it's 200,000 years in prison.
Yeah.
Or this is officially our website.
Yeah.
You keep making your money, dude, and we're just going to keep catching these predators because for
Pretty
every
much
5 we get, 15 will pop up.
Yeah. Drug cartel shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would have been the smartest thing. Instead of now a web of these websites that exist all over the world on servers that you have no access to.
But for devil's advocate, I would say I'm sure pedophiles are pretty crafty. I think they would notice after like a year at least that it's like, oh, no, they're like popping in pedophiles in here. Like they would realize that it wasn't a safe website, right?
But you can figure out a way for them to never know.
Yeah,
because look,
it would be to not catch him.
Let's be
honest. That's
honest.
a lot of FBI tricks are like, all right, we got him, but let's see where this goes.
But think of it this way: if I catch you on the Silk Road, and then I can figure out where the hell you were getting your shit from, I won't even.
Am I a pedophile on this fictional thing that you're saying?
I meant the general you, not you specifically.
Okay, good.
Okay, you're an arms dealer on the Silk Road.
I prefer that than a pedophile.
Much more honorable criminal
out of the two. Yes.
Yeah. So you're an arms dealer on the Silk Road.
Yeah.
Well, you got to get your weapons from somewhere, right? Somebody
True.
bigger than you is supplying you that shit.
Yeah.
So I find you on the Silk Road. I don't even touch you.
It's probably
I just go after the bigger guy because if I leave you alone, you're just gonna find another bigger guy, and I can keep catching the bigger guys using you as my conduit.
Yeah.
Silk Road looks clean. The moron low level selling shit on Bitcoin looks.
But then
clean.
why didn't the drug war work? Because that's exactly what they were doing,
well,
right?
I can answer the question for you very easily.
What?
Because you can't keep funding this shit if you are not continuing to make busts and things like that. And what happens is like the local level wants to get involved, and they want some of that federal government money too.
Sure.
And if you're not working with the local level and they're not getting funding for it, they're not engaged, and you just like the chain of command starts losing information because nobody cares, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the reason. Plus, you don't want it to end because now you can always continue to hit up the government for more funds. And it's not like the $10 billion that gets allocated for, the drug war actually does anything on the drug war. Maybe $1 billion goes towards shit. The $9 billion goes to other crap.
Sure. Tanks and
whatever it is. It just goes to other stuff that none of us will ever know about, and because it's, formulated and properly accounted for, and you don't know.
You're being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously. Okay. Yeah. No. Obviously.
Okay.
But like that's the trick that they play is like why isn't the homeless problem done in California? Because you don't want it to end.
No. Yeah.
Because you can keep getting
also
funding
people are
from
fucked up too, and people are gonna do drugs. Like you're gonna always have that.
But we're having a surplus. We're never having it go down.
No,
you're never
right.
having. We had 200,000 new homeless people come in, but we got rid of 175,000 of the old ones. So now we're at 225 instead of 400,000.
Yeah.
I don't see that ever happen ever. And California has the largest like philanthropic budget for the homeless problem ever.
Yeah.
But like you got a bunch of assholes sitting there making $200,000-$300,000 as the CEO, the CFO of a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Seriously, dude?
No, yeah.
It just continues to go down the
You
spiral.
gotta make money though. I mean, I'm with you. I'm devil.
But that's the problem is like I don't understand how a person becomes a career nonprofit employee. That shouldn't be your career goal. Your career goal should be I make X amount of dollars from my actual career. I don't know, whatever entrepreneur you are an attorney, you're a doctor.
Yeah.
I sit on the board of a nonprofit and I put in a couple of hours a week and I collect nothing for this.
Yeah.
Then you no longer have a vested interest in your financial gain. You have a vested interest in actually doing good.
Sure. Or getting done with the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Because now you don't want to be doing this forever, right? You want to take care of this problem, get on the board of the next problem, fix that problem, because you want to feel that sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
But now your accomplishment is that paycheck. Yeah. So you're like, I got to continue this until I retire because I got kids in college, a BMW payment. Sure. I got all this other crap that
I'm about to be homeless. Like, that's what they're thinking.
Yeah. But that's literally their mentality. It's this survivalist mentality. So, like, if you look at anything that has a 501(c) nonprofit attached to it, there's a level of corruption that goes with it.
Yeah, it is about money.
It's always about money. I think that's kind of what it harkens back to is, and the whole deal with comedians and being canceled and all that stuff. People were pissed that comedians were making so much money without having to be part of the Hollywood scene anymore.
True.
Podcasting and doing road shows and arenas and things like that. Not every comedian, but the ones that are mainstream and well known, they were killing it.
Yeah.
And what happened? They got attacked on a never ending basis.
Yeah.
And that pisses me off because it's not fair.
Yeah.
Because you have the loudest voice today, but what happens when you don't tomorrow? You're going to want the comedians to be out there talking shit about the people that have the loudest voice.
True.
Because you want to be heard too.
Yeah. I mean, but we're also supposed to take the bullet too. So us getting canceled and stuff, it's like you pissing off the king and then the king kills the jester.
Yeah, but none of us collectively decided who that king was.
True.
None of us have, and you don't even know who the king
is.
is.
You could argue that's true too. Well, you could argue nobody wanted that guy to be king.
Right, but here's what happens when nobody wants that guy to be king, but we talked about this. A coup can happen, right?
Yeah.
You can't have a coup when you don't know who you're fighting against. Who is?
True.
Who is?
You trying to start a coup?
No, but I'm trying to get people to actually think a little bit more about we don't have a dude or a lady that is the cause of all of our problems, but the problems still exist. Yeah. It's worse now. You don't even know who to revolt against.
No. Yeah. Agreed.
I don't know. So I think that's what the difference is between, the yesteryear jester versus the comedian of today. You don't know who the hell it is that is behind all this.
Sure. Or it's like you end up attacking a whole group of people. And like, Dave Chappelle and the trans rights and stuff. And it's like,
sure. I'm
sure I mean, I know, or I don't know personally, but like he doesn't seem to actually hate trans people, but the people attacking him, he doesn't even know. He would, I'm sure he would specifically attack that one person if he knew who it was really, but instead
the last special where he talked about the trans comedian that was a friend of his that he brought on the road who committed suicide. That's not the story of a person that has hate towards your group.
No, agreed.
That is a person that is bringing you on a level playing field by saying one of your peers was on tour with me.
Yeah.
And I accepted that person as my peer.
Yeah.
And now I get to tell you the story to bring light to the bullshit you guys caused against your own peer. You guys made her commit suicide because...
But you're not wrong. Yeah, yeah. It's still...
Okay, yeah, maybe she had underlying issues and things like that.
Well, I'm saying it's still your choice. Yeah, yeah. No, they definitely exasperated it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, a bunch of people that you see, you know, YouTube clips or whatever, and they're like, oh, I didn't even watch your special, but I know you're transphobic and you hate this. And you're like, why don't you just watch it first?
Sure.
And then formulate an actual opinion.
Yeah.
Why not, dude? Like, seriously, like, how is this possible that you... It's like not watching a movie and saying it sucks. Why?
I do that all the time.
I don't.
No?
I may choose not to watch a movie.
Yeah.
But if
I haven't read
seen it,
all
I
of
won't
the
badmouth
Bible,
it.
but I think it sucks a little. I think I'm just saying, yeah, I don't know. I didn't watch Paddington 2, and everybody said that's amazing. I think it's going to suck.
It may be great, but I won't make an opinion about it until I actually watch it.
Yeah.
At least publicly, I won't make that opinion.
Sure. Publicly,
Even
I
though I
will,
don't
but I'm
exist.
telling people I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Even though I don't exist publicly, I still wouldn't make that opinion. I might be saying it with friends being like, yeah, whatever, it's Paddington. How good could it be? Or something like that.
I think it got like 100% on
Paddington?
Paddington 2.
Why?
I think it's a really good story. I don't know. But it's a child's show, and it's about a bear.
I know it's
so,
isn't Jude Law in it or something?
Something, yeah. I'm talking about, like, I know some people that really love that. They actually made a joke about it in a movie, that Nicolas Cage movie.
Which one?
The one where he's playing himself.
Oh, and he's on that private island.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of it, but I saw it, and it
That
was
pretty
really
good.
funny.
It was good.
Really
it was good. Nick Cage still got it.
What was it?
Maybe that wasn't the movie, but yeah, I'm pretty sure they had a padding. But it's like, yeah,
I don't doubt it. That movie was so funny. It was all over the place.
It was. It was.
It was good.
Wait, we're talking about Paddington 2, right?
No, we're talking about
kidding.
the Nicolas Cage
I'm
film.
kidding.
We're talking about Nick Cage.
Yeah, but yeah, it's I don't know. Just I like saying stupid shit sometimes, and that's okay. But then it's like the difference is I'm not trying to be respected at all. Like I'm not saying you need to respect my. I'm just a crazy dude yelling shit into the void, really.
Which the people that sit there and demand respect are the least respected.
Sure.
The ones that are doing it for the craft and the art of conveying.
It shows through. Well, now some of those comics are doing pretty well. I mean, the ones that are going for respect, which it's a little annoying because some of those guys are not, whatever, focused on the craft or whatever. I hate calling it an art form, but yeah, whatever.
Well, no, I don't. It is an art.
I know, man.
Because
just...
think of it this way, and it's very simple. Anyone, quite literally anyone that has two limbs can be taught how to paint.
Sure.
Like painting a house or painting a fence.
Sure. Not sure where you're going with this.
But you can spend the rest of your life trying to teach somebody how to be funny and can't. It has to inherently come in with you.
That's not fully true.
How?
If it's an art form, then that's not true. Just like
any art
just
form.
like no, but just like with painting, it's like.
Can you become Rembrandt? No. It has to be something that's within
that is
you.
true. But you can become a painter.
You can paint houses.
I'm saying you could paint portraits, a little like in between. There's like the Eckards guy of painting, where it's just doing family photos because you know what I'm saying. Like houses is like the most base. I get what you're saying. But I'm saying you can rise a little bit. You won't be.
But
you
it
won't
still
be
takes
Picasso,
the artistic talent to do that.
The portrait stuff, yeah, but it's like you can get to a level that people are like, oh, this guy's actually a painter. Not a good painter. Not a good painter, but it's like, oh, this guy's actually a painter.
But you will never get to the level of being a comedian.
No, because
very quickly you're off the stage and you're never back on.
Yeah.
If you suck, you suck.
Yeah, nah, that's not even true too, man.
Look,
some of these people are so good at getting a following or just be likable on stage that like
doesn't make them an artist to me.
So the art form is just the
because they fizzle out. They're not going to be there for a long time.
No, that's true. Yeah.
Or
they're just riding on the backs of their fans the whole way.
But
then that every time they come back every year, they have less and less fans because they're not doing anything new or creative or anything. They're just
think of it this way: having artistic talent doesn't make you an artist. Putting in the work to perfect what talent you have does make you an artist.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Think of it that way. Like a lot of people are really good at writing, right?
Yeah.
But they never become writers. That's the actual art
And a lot of people are funny, but don't become comedians.
right.
Yeah,
Like people have that inherent gift, but do not become the comedian or the comedic actor because they don't pursue the path of becoming an artist.
Yeah, because they're too busy investing in Bitcoin and stuff.
Whatever
Yeah.
they're
No,
doing. But
just
yeah,
doing
I mean,
callbacks.
like comedy is not like painting where you can have it as a hobby on the side just for kicks. It's
No.
because you can set
Well,
up an
no,
easel and paint in your house.
Yeah, you're right. But the hobby on the side for comedy wouldn't be like you telling jokes by yourself in a closet. It would be you just with your friends shooting the shit. That's your canvas if you're trying to be.
But don't
doing
we all
comedy.
do that to a certain degree, like shooting shit with our friends? It's very hard to
Kind
translate
of.
that into a stand-up comedian,
True.
where you've got the structure and you've.
But
got
I know a lot
all
of people
that.
in those groups that don't make jokes. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody's trying to make jokes in that kind of shoot the shit thing.
Okay.
You get
yeah,
what I'm
you're
saying?
right. I mean, some of
Yeah.
us have the ability of cracking a joke and it's funny with
Yeah.
our friends, and then
Yeah.
you always have the majority of the group that's just not making funny.
Yeah.
Or they try and they fail
and
miserably.
Yeah. So they stop doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
it's like that's where your canvas would be for stand up in a sense.
So it comes back to what I'm saying is like artistic talent doesn't mean you're an artist,
sure.
but lack of artistic talent guarantees you will never be an artist.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what the art medium is, because that's why so few people actually are in the artistic craft.
I think there's a lot more. There's so many comics, man. There's so many, like
8
especially
billion
now,
people in the world. How many do you think are comics?
probably like 7 billion right now, and they're all in Austin, and it's like it's a lot.
Austin's a scene, yeah.
Yeah.
But I kind of like the fact that Austin is a scene.
Oh,
I
yeah, yeah.
like that it's not California anymore.
If anything, it's becoming California. It's California with more guns.
No, I mean, like-
that's it.
California's scene
And I like
was
Austin,
always
yeah.
connected to trying to get into Hollywood. Whereas
True.
Austin is saying, I want to be a comedian for the art of comedy and grow that.
No, I like that stand-ups there, but it's like Austin always had a big film scene. I bet you in the next 10, 15 years it turns into that. And then I bet you it turns exactly into LA.
Well, that means it gives me at least 10 to 15 years of hungry comedians that are going to be
True.
chasing after that dream versus
yeah.
getting the sitcom or the late night show because they
Sure.
don't want that anymore.
Sure.
Who's watching them?
No one.
So I like the fact that the driving force is not the TV show. The driving force is being a really good comedian.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
I think that's going to be interesting.
It is.
I asked you a question, but we never actually got an answer to it. What made you get up on stage the first time? Because I think that's important for the comedy journey and comedy stories. Like, what made you go up?
It was just like I was lost, and I had just kind of been drifting in life, and I was a musician before, but music wasn't really cutting it. I think it was because like
What'd you play?
Guitar.
Okay,
Guitar,
cool.
and I sang. I wouldn't say I'm a singer, but I can keep a pitch and I can hold a tone for like my music.
Okay.
But it was a lot. It was very sad stuff. It was more personal stuff. Like I think music to me is more of just a personal thing that kind of like you're talking about. Like I definitely had some talent with guitar, but nothing extraordinary. But I definitely know what I'm doing. But it was just more of a personal art for me. Like it was, like I thought I wanted to share it with other people, which I don't mind people hearing it, but it's more of just for me. And I couldn't really pursue that anymore. I didn't know what I was doing in my life. I was actually in school for music, getting my music degree, just to prove to myself that I didn't waste, that I actually can play music in a sense.
You were looking for validation.
What
you probably already knew internally.
No, I never thought of it that way. That's exactly what I was looking for. To validate, be like, am I even a musician? Like, and getting that dumb degree doesn't mean shit. But at the same point, at that time, I needed that.
It just kind of reinforces what's in your head already of like, I can do this.
And yes, yeah. And it did help in the sense of like, because like, I never thought going to school for music was in a sense, you shouldn't do that. But then in a sense, it did help me kind of have direction at times. Like I'm really glad I'm self-taught, but then it's good to then actually be taught.
And getting the fundamentals and like the basic.
Yeah. And I had some of those fundamentals already, but still they hardened it. They solidified it.
So it's like reinforcing the foundation that you built, which is perfect. I mean, most people don't do that.
No. But then, I was still lost, and I was on methadone. I had to go to the clinic all the time. I was struggling, and ended up just finding.
Where were you when what's the first stage you were on? Do you remember the club?
Hyenas was the technical first time I was going to the thing, but I had gone the week before. So I had hit up Backdoor, which is a great club. It's a clean comedy club, which I can do that, but that's not my type. But it's a great club in Richardson by Linda Stogner, great woman, really funny comic. Mm-hmm. And I had gone there, but usually you're supposed to call a week before to tell them you're coming. And I just called the day of. And I was like, well, I'll just come and watch or whatever. And then I didn't have anything prepared, really. And then at the very end of the show, they're like, oh, do you want to go up? And I was like, crap. I was like, this is what I want to do. Went up. Don't really remember it. I think I did okay. I don't think I did bad. But then technically the next week was the first time I actually was like trying to go to a club and go up and whatever. And that was at Hyenas, and that was April 1st. And
how long did you do?
3-5 minutes, and I bombed terribly the whole time. And it was
how did it feel?
Like doing cocaine, pretty much.
Just high adrenaline, really quick, before it started.
Yeah. And then, I mean, dude, stand-up is like, I used to do speedballs when I was an addict.
Holy shit.
Yeah. No, yeah, I do.
For those of you that don't know what a speedball is, it's doing coke and heroin intravenously at the same time.
Yeah, that is true.
Which has killed a lot of people. Yeah. John Belushi died that way.
A lot of people, yeah. Well, some of it's just like overdoing it, not know what you're getting, especially once you have a high enough tolerance. It's like you get one semi-bad batch, just the amount you're doing, that's going to extrapolate it. You know what I mean? Like, that's like drinking sake instead of like 151. Like, every shot then is like 3 shots. And it's like, if you're used to doing 4 shots, now you've done 12 shots with that 151 in a sense, or whatever. If the math, whatever.
Did you have an emotional high after the first time you were on stage? Like, was there something in you that said, I got to keep doing this?
It just felt connected to people in a sense. Or I only got like maybe one laugh. When I first started, it would be like, obviously not a big room or anything, maybe like 5-10 people, maybe 5 other comics too. I mean, a lot of the comics are like at the bar instead. But I wouldn't make the whole room laugh. I would just get like one dumb, sometimes mild laugh. And, after every set, I would just hold on to that one laugh. The whole set sucked, but that one laugh was everything to me. And then that built to, one bigger laugh and then 2 big laughs. And now it's, now sometimes I'll like not go for laughs. Like I'll go for them laughing, and then I try to tank the crowd where they don't like me anymore, and then try to get them back a little bit or something.
So you're trying to get like a rush out of it a bit.
Oh, a little bit. No, I mean, I love losing a crowd, dude. I love having a crowd in my hand and then me just saying some crazy shit, and everybody's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And then
when was it the first time that you found a sense of accomplishment, happiness, joy out of doing stand-up? How long after your first April 1st set?
Okay, I remember one of the first guest spots I got. Actually, I think I just saw a Facebook memory. I think it was like 4 years ago or something. It was for Kevin Farley, Chris Farley's brother.
Okay, yeah,
it was at Plano Hyenas. I think Linda was on that show.
Kevin does stand-up?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
And he talks about Chris a little bit. And so he pretty much looks like Chris, too, which is...
I've seen a couple of videos and interviews, and he does look a lot like his brother.
Yeah.
That's a guy that we lost too quick, man. Yeah. Chris was really funny.
Also because of Speedballs.
Yeah.
But
that's right. Yeah. Because he was imitating Belushi's life.
Yeah, a little bit. It was like 300 people in that, like, jammed in a room, and like everyone murdered that night, but still murdering that night where you're like, holy shit, this is what. And that's what I was saying, the Speedball thing is like walking up on stage feels like coke, but then getting people to laugh at your joke, it's like that's the heroin. It's like there's a warmth there because you can just like sit in that laughter, you know what I mean, and you don't have to do anything because they're laughing, so it's like you just wait for that to die down and stuff. So it's just a constant.
Which for those of us that have never done heroin, you kind of don't know the feeling of it. But I
guess make a group of strangers laugh, maybe. Oh yeah. Or no, if you want to go that route, I have a bit about this, but no, so many people. If you've ever done like lean, Tylenol 3s, morphine, Vicodin,
it's not lean, but Tylenol 3 and Vicodin just for certain reasons.
Well, lean's codeine.
Yeah,
codeine.
It's the cough syrup, and they just like
that's all heroin at that point.
Pretty much, yeah, because it's a synthetic version of what. Heroin is.
They're both organic.
Are they really?
Yes.
I thought they were synthesized.
No. Heroin's like a double down. Like there's a bit of manufacturing, but when it gets broken down in your system, it turns right into morphine.
Okay.
Opium it's all opium. It's all that. The synthetic stuff like is Suboxone, fentanyl, and methadone, and
barbitol and all that shit.
Oxycontin.
Right.
Yeah.
Norco and that stuff.
Narco, I think, is Vicodin, pretty much. So I'm pretty sure that's codeine. Pretty sure.
Which is funny is like I still have a Narcan in my house.
Nice. We will talk about that after the podcast.
Yeah, but it's not for anything good. It's to get you back if you're
overdosing. Narcan. I thought you said narco.
I have Norco at home.
Oh, nice.
But that was for wisdom tooth extraction.
Yeah,
I just kind of went awry and I needed it.
Yeah.
But I still have the Narcan in there, and it's like, oh,
why
shit.
do you have that? Because
when they prescribed the Norco, they also
Seriously?
They gave me the Narcan just in case, like if you have an
That's
adverse
a bit
reaction.
over the I mean, they're not wrong, but like, man, for you would need to take a lot of those pills before you needed that Narcan.
Me personally, yeah, I have a high tolerance for shit.
Or not even, but yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I don't know. You ever do mushrooms?
Yeah.
Okay. What gets you, space flight?
How many grams?
Yeah.
Oh. I haven't really been pushed. Probably like 3.5. Yeah.
Usually 6 or 7 gets me up there.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah.
All right.
If I do 3 grams, I'm just hanging out. Like,
Yeah.
I can go to a comedy club on 3 grams and just laugh.
I'll be
my
giggling.
ass
I'll
off.
be giggling the whole time. You'd notice I'm on something. I think.
Yeah, you might notice I'm on
yeah,
something,
yeah,
but like
yeah.
for me to,
What are you trying to do?
full
You're trying to like be incapacitated, like on the floor, kind of stuff, staring into the void.
I'm trying to get out of. So I was actually messed up on mushrooms one time, and I had a serious conversation with myself.
Mm-hmm.
And the conversation was, why can't I get out of my own head to enjoy this?
Huh?
It's like my brain actively tries
Yeah, I
to
get that.
block it,
Yeah.
and I don't know what it is.
Do
Like
you run or work out any?
I used to. I haven't in a while.
I get that, and I'm not trying to say you need to, but I
do.
think
No. I completely agree. I do. I'm turning
I think
37. I need
Nice.
to exercise.
Yeah. I think that has a lot to do with it. Because, like, also I do, I know this is a Joe Rogan thing, but my girl used to take me to or sometimes she still does, the Korean spa, doing hot, cold.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know what about it, but it's like I'll be in my head, and the second I'll get in the cold water, it's like my brain turns off.
Because your body goes into that flight or fight response where it's like, I don't really care that I hated this person in high school. I'm trying not to die.
That's a great way of putting it. Yeah. So I think that is, and don't get me wrong, there's like a cardio to it too. Like,
right.
Where you're like, holy crap, my blood's flowing.
No, I know the benefit of exercise. When I used to go to the gym diligently and work out, I was
But I bet you
way happier.
Yeah, but I bet you back then you were working out for like vanity or like you're trying to get big or something where it's like.
I was already married, so the purpose was
longevity
and health. So like kids being born made a big difference, but like moving to Texas kind of like put a halt on all of that because I've only been here 6 months.
Oh,
so we barely. Well,
I mean, moving's stressful, so it's like that's.
It was moving, and then it was getting into a pretty bad car accident, and not being able to move for 3 or 4 months. Like my
kids
right
almost
side
dying last week, pretty much.
No, dude, kids dying, no, thank God, but dealing with like illnesses. This winter just kind of like knocked everybody out.
Yeah.
Because like 2 years of COVID, nobody was doing anything, so the flu was like, I'm back with a vengeance. I'm gonna kill everyone.
Yeah.
So it was hard.
Yeah.
But no, I completely agree with you about getting back into the gym. But I don't know what it is, like edibles, like edible marijuana shit.
Yeah.
No, does nothing to me. Literally nothing. I can eat as many 1,000 milligrams as you'd like. I will just digest it all out.
Well,
without
that's a thing.
anything.
People say that's a thing.
Some people have that.
Yeah.
Some people have that effect that it just like does nothing for them.
Yeah.
And I guess
but smoking it does. So weed does something. It's just eating it. Yeah.
No, look, mushrooms will still mess me up. Molly will mess me up. Don't do it often, but when I do it, I get the effect of it.
Yeah.
It's always been strange to me that like I've never been a big mushroom user to be like I built a tolerance somehow, which doesn't make any sense anyways.
Yeah.
But to like,
you can if you take it every day.
You have to.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't take it even months at a time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I have it. It's like, hey, if I'm in the mood for it, and I'll just whatever. Yeah. But like to actually get messed up on it takes a lot.
Yeah.
But to come back to your question is like trying to get lose control.
Yeah.
To no longer have control is what I'm interested in.
Okay.
And I can't get there. And I don't want to do heroin or anything like that because that's not the type of loss of control I want. I want loss of control of like just being.
Well, it's not loss of control. It's just I always tell people it felt like I used to tell people it felt like love. heroin.
Okay.
Which I still think a little bit, but then after like Molly, I'm like, okay, that seems more like love in a sense, but definitely felt like comfort and safety,
People,
which comes from love.
A lot of people say it's like, being curled up in like the warm blanket of just like this. You have this overwhelming feeling of good.
Yeah. I was going to say it just feels like safety.
Yeah.
That's the best way to kind of overlap it, where it's like if I grew up in a kind of not a horrible environment, but it was like I was on edge.
You touched upon that a little bit because your parents
were fighting a lot.
Were fighting a lot. How many siblings do you have?
3 sisters. And then
older, younger, or somewhere in between?
I'm the middle child.
You're the middle child.
So yeah, I didn't have a chance.
So total 4.
Yes.
Yeah. See, you had a bunch of things fighting against you at the same time. It's like you had a parent household that had their own issues to deal with.
Yeah.
Plus, you had to split love amongst 4 people.
True.
What little had to go around, I'm guessing.
True. A little bit. Yeah.
And I don't know what the financial situation was.
Decent.
Okay.
That's the one thing I can't. That's what makes it hard on me, where it's like I had all financial needs.
You had all the resources.
Yeah. Not like over the top. Like I didn't have like a G-Wagon or anything. I had a.
You had a car?
Honda. It was an old car. And
Still?
then one of the. I do still have a car.
No, I mean, it still was a big deal to have a car at that time.
Yes.
You know what
yes.
Not still do you have a car. I mean, like, still, it's a big deal to have a car at that time.
No, agreed. No, but I grew up in Plano where it's like everybody's driving, like I was like the poor kid in Plano, which isn't anything to bitch about, but it's still being the poor kid in Plano. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody had like wealth. My parents, I don't think they're rich now, but I think they were rich in the 90s when I was first growing up a little bit.
What did your parents do, if you don't mind me asking?
My dad worked for Nortel.
What's Nortel?
It's not a company that exists anymore. They went down in 2008. They went bankrupt.
What were they?
Telecommunications.
Okay.
Yeah. My dad was IT before it was IT, pretty much.
So he was making a pretty decent
he was.
living.
No, he was making a good living and stuff. It was just, the arranged marriage, I guess, and then maybe being immigrants. I don't know the overlap for that. I mean, I was being first generation in a time that. Being a minority is cool in high school now.
It wasn't when we were growing up.
Yeah, I don't think it was. It wasn't. It was the transition period. So it was like, there were maybe a couple people that didn't like minorities or whatever, but it's like we were just. If anything, I was more invisible than
hated.
Yeah. Which I don't know. Maybe hated would have been. I might have preferred that, to be honest. I prefer that now.
It would have
I'd rather
lit a
be
different
hated
fire.
than be invisible. But yeah.
Being hated would have lit a different fire under you.
True. Yeah. Probably the wrong one at that point because I was pretty angry at the world. Anyways, I'm still a little angry, but yeah.
I think we all are to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that because you can just look and see so much injustice that you had nothing to do with. You can't really control any of it. And then you're stuck kind of having to pick up the pieces and be like, okay, I guess this is the world I get.
Yeah, this is life, though.
And that's the other part is like people forget that is like, this is life. You're supposed to have that bit of anger because it also gives room for the bit of happiness that comes in life and all the other things. Yes.
But I'm also saying that's life in the sense of like, I'm not saying don't change the world, but it's like, if it doesn't change, man, you got to learn how to be able to live in it. If it doesn't go the way that you're going for whatever reason, most of the time it's because you didn't see this linchpin in your idea that you're like, well, this should work. And then you're like, oh, wait, but people like killing each other or like fucking each other or whatever the fuck it is.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, crap. Okay, so that whole system that I thought of breaks down.
I mean, you said trying to change the world. I think before you try to change the world, you need to fix your house.
True. Yeah.
And I think, but that also comes with a different set of problems. Now I know what I was trying to say. Is some people have too narrow of a worldview and some people have too broad of a worldview. You need to find that happy medium where you can get sucked into your own small universe and not really care about what's going on in the world.
True. That's where I'm at right now.
And then you can care so much about the world that you really accomplish nothing because you just sit there and worry about everything.
Yeah.
Nothing
I get what
done.
you're saying. Yeah. You have to have the focus to pick something, but then the broadness to see the bigger picture outside of your world.
And I'm like, a lot of people find it controversial to talk about Jordan Peterson, but I find the way he looks at it is very interesting, where he's like, look, you have these circles that you can deal with. Your inner circle, which is you, then your outer circle, which is your family, then your broader circle, which is your friends, and then your community circle. It's like inward out should be the momentum.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are just like outward and never get into the inward.
And then
part
that
of it.
brings the validation inward, and then they don't have to fix themselves.
Right.
And,
And they're like, oh, look at me, dude. I
Yeah.
tweeted about Black Lives Matter or whatever the
Yeah,
hell it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
I'm actively helping the cause. No, you're not. You're not doing shit.
Yeah.
You know who are people that might be actually working to change?
The one's not tweeting. And
Yeah,
they're
the
too
guy
busy.
that's out there getting a law degree
Yeah.
so that he can go back to that community and try to help people that are in a really unjust situation.
I think the only way that works, though, is if there's a community aspect to it.
But
where it's
and that's
like-
why I go back to what Peterson says is
Yeah,
like if you
inward,
start
outward.
inward and
Yeah, yeah,
outward,
yeah.
when you've connected with your broader community, then you can help the world at large.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
until
yeah.
you've done that, you're not doing anything.
In a sense, you almost have to kind of create your own little patriarchy, your own little or whatever, monarchy.
Monarchy, yeah, which
to
makes a
get rid
lot
of
of
the ones.
sense.
Yeah, it's like you're not going to do shit by yourself. You got to create a little team and then do something with that team.
And I think nowadays we are falling into, again, two tribes. Either you're so connected to whatever you care about, or you're so extra connected to everything else in the world that you don't accomplish shit in either situation.
Yeah. Well, you're just a leaf in the wind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which do you want to be? You have a choice.
I mean, we're all leaves in the wind in a certain sense too.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like you can be
I'd
the one
rather
that
be
falls
a-
into the gutter, or you
I'd
can be the
rather
one that
be-
just flows through the
Yeah,
earth.
I'd rather be like a rock. Like it takes a lot of wind.
Yes.
Yeah, kind of deal.
But it also takes a lot of time and sediment growth to turn into a rock. It
True.
takes a
Yeah,
long time of either something chipping away or something gradually adding to turn into a rock.
Leaves come every season.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're right. I'd rather be a rock, but it takes a lot more work to become a
That's
rock.
true. Yeah.
And then
That's let's end it on that.
All
that's
right.
That's a good analogy. I like. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shiva.
Yeah. Then just my Instagram handle is
Yes.
SHIVA, the number 7 ARY, Shiva 7 Ary.
So Shiva 7 Ary
Yep.
is your Instagram handle?
Yeah.
And then anywhere else like Twitter or Facebook or
No,
doesn't
not
matter?
yet. Twitter is the same thing if you want to. I'm not really on there. Eventually, I might start trying to push more social media, but right now I hate it.
But
I
you
don't
like
know.
being on the Instagram.
No. I would not have social media if I didn't have to. Yeah, but you have to.
What's funny is I don't have any personal social media accounts. I only have the
that
ones
still
I created
counts.
for the podcast.
Nah, it still sucks being on social media. I still don't.
I don't
like it.
use it. I
Oh,
don't do anything
interesting,
with it.
interesting,
Like
interesting.
you'll never find me sitting there scrolling on Instagram or.
I think you got to a
shit like
little.
that.
I think you need to a little bit.
The only reason I do it is like if I'm trying to find new comedians or researching somebody that
Yeah.
I'm interested in interviewing,
Okay,
I'll go through
perfect.
their Instagram and stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like I'm not sitting there going like, oh cool, what's the
Yeah.
newest fad that I need to get into or whatever
Sure.
bullshit is going on.